It's 6:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. The Miami Dolphins upset the Baltimore Ravens 22-10 on Thursday Night Football. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson limited to 238 yards passing and just 39 yards rushing. He scored just one touchdown. The Ravens turned the ball over twice. Meanwhile, Xavier Howard returned a fumble for a touchdown for Miami's only TD. The Ravens' loss dropped them to 6-3, which gives the Titans a one-game lead atop the AFC. Titans will host the Saints Sunday at noon. Lee Company countdown to kickoff set for 9 a.m. with Mike Keith and Dave McGinnis on the call. Kickoff at noon. Tennessee hosts top-ranked Georgia. And kickoff is set for 2:30 tomorrow. Can be heard on the Zone courtesy of the Vol Network. Nashville Predators remain red hot. The Preds defeated the St. Louis Blues in overtime 4-3. Matt Duchene scored 2 goals, including the game winner in the extra session. Nashville 7-1-1 in their last 9 games. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Welcome in, JMart and Ramon here on this Friday. We've made it to another one. Yeah, that game last night was a football game. Whew. Of all the football games I've seen in my life, that was definitely 2 NFL teams.
Trash.
That was the very definition of Thursday night football right there. 2 teams, and neither one of them really looked like they wanted to be there.
Hot garbage.
Just awful.
Yeah, that's some turd stuff right there.
This is an awful game. Bad all the way around. This show, good all the way around. Ish. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, Jason Martin. At Ramon Foster, decent. At Schaefer on Sports. At JMart Radio.
Trash.
At JMart and Ramon. Yeah. Ravens lose. Here we go with the league again. If you feel reasonably decent about a team, you're not going to feel that way for long in the AFC.
You said AFC?
For sure in the AFC.
For sure in the AFC.
I don't know that anybody is immune. The Titans have been dancing between the raindrops lately. They're going to need to dance between the raindrops again because this is the kind of game you watch this and you're just like,
why?
Okay.
Why?
You just drop games in this league inexplicably, especially when things look like they're at their absolute best. But the Ravens right here, that's a bad loss.
Yeah.
That's a bad loss. Now, Miami used to have a tendency to do that to New England, but that was in division. What's your excuse, Baltimore? Not a good one. They couldn't move the ball. It's 3-0. I'm looking at the screen in the second quarter. I'm like, I'm not watching much of this.
Yeah.
This is not happening.
6-3 at the half, and all I could think was, you don't let bad teams, Miami Dolphins, stick around. Every single situation we've had this year, every single game that's been that close with bad teams versus good teams. Titans versus Jets. Bad team, Jets versus a good team, Titans. Lost. Can't let them stick around. We look at last weekend. Bills, Jags, 6-3. Can't let them stick around.
Yeah, can't do it, man.
Loss.
Yeah.
Ravens, last night, 6-3 at halftime. Bad. Loss. What is the AFC? Who's put this voodoo on the AFC side of the NFL this year?
I don't know if any of it's good. I don't know what we're going to – I mean, the playoffs, I have no clue who shows up from week to week.
Me either.
The most consistent team in the AFC right now is definitely the Titans.
Easily the
it's
Titans.
Not even a contest.
I'll say this. Pittsburgh has won 3 or 4 straight also. Got to tip your head off to the Raiders at this point. Chargers lost last weekend, though.
Raiders lost last weekend.
Raiders
too.
lost last
Lost
week.
to the
You're right.
Giants last week.
Yeah, they
Lost
lost
to
to the daggone Giants.
Good team versus bad team. What?
I don't know what you want from me, man.
What do y'all make of this?
What's football trying to do to me right now?
I don't even know. Then you got super teams banding together now.
Imagine if you gambled. What are you doing? Just stop. You don't know anything. Nobody knows anything.
Vegas doesn't know anything right now, man. It was just,
I mean,
I don't.
garbage.
Do you call them traps? What do you even call them, Jay? Last night, is that a trap game?
I don't know what to say about any of it, man.
But just looking at it last night, Miami Dolphins went through two quarterbacks. I thought Jacoby Brissett was done for the night, man. He went down grabbing his knee, and he was screaming. He was screaming big time, man. And lo and behold, he gets to the sideline. He's running around. That initial scare will definitely mess with you big time, man. Tua comes in, goes 8 for 13, 156.
Tua Tagovailoa, QB, Alabama.
That's the dropout. I was listening to Rick Ross coming in this morning, by the way, Shave. The biggest boss.
Tua did all right.
Tua did do okay, man.
Had like 150 yards coming in for Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah. Was no touchdowns, anything like that, but it was a good night for him. I'm looking at the stat line for these teams. The rushing for Miami, Myles Gaskin, 14 for 31 yards.
Good stuff.
Albert Wilson, 2 for 19. And then on the passing side of it, Albert Wilson, 4 for 87. Really not nothing. I'll tell you what, I'm real close to dropping Gesicki. The tight end
let me tell you
on
something.
my fantasy team.
Let me tell you something about Gesicki. Gesicki's really good.
Oh.
And they just don't get him the ball.
Well,
like,
he had
they were
7
in the,
targets
I know,
last
but they
night.
were in the red zone
Yeah.
in the first half of that game. I want to say it was like second down, and he didn't get a target, like at all. He's the guy in that situation. He's going to be the go up and get it kind of tight end guy, and he made one really nice play a few days ago. Not in this game, but like he's very talented.
Yeah.
But they don't understand. Like, use him like Darren Waller. Use him like Travis Kelce. You try because you don't have a ton of weapons out there.
And then we have an offensive lineman scoring last night. And not just that, reaching out over the end zone while getting flipped in the air, man. Robert Hunt.
Yeah, but they took that away from
They
him.
took it, but you know and I know.
Oh, Golick Jr. was pissed
You know
on
it.
Twitter.
Dog.
Oh, he scored it. You look at the replay. He scored
By
it.
the way, he's
Score.
on vacation. I tweeted that out, and he's already liked it. I know his deal. I know what happened. I know that T Sizzle put out a redo of Red today. I know what he's doing.
Yes,
He's in the house right now with a box of tissues.
Box of tissues, a glass of
Let's
wine.
just say I'm more
early.
Silk Sonic today.
Oh,
That came out today.
Did it?
I haven't heard it yet. I'm looking forward to hearing it after the show.
Silk Sonic, got to get on that.
Bruno and Anderson Paak.
But looking on even the Baltimore side of everything, I'll say this too. It was probably one game, but it's the game I saw. The passing in both of these games
Kind of sucked.
was cheeks
You mean from both teams?
from both teams. These Jacoby
You said both
Brissett-
games. I'm like, you're telling me there
Both
was a
games.
worse game that I didn't see? I'll tell you who the best passer last night was.
Who was?
Kenny Pickett,
Kenny Pickett,
the Pittsburgh quarterback.
Yeah.
He was the best. He was the best person I saw throw a football yesterday. Sam Howell was throwing footballs last night.
Mhm.
I think Sam Howell's a pretty decent player.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett's better right now.
Wow.
Period. And it was not a banner day for either Lamar Jackson or anybody else.
Well, I'll tell you this. Lamar and Tua and Jacoby were all cheeks last night. 43 attempts from Lamar last night, and just looking at it, 36 attempts from Miami. And then on top of this, they started off well enough, but then the Baltimore rushing game. If they can't run the ball, then what is the Baltimore Ravens?
I mean, Greg Roman doesn't have an answer.
But remember? PFF and was it Tannenbaum? And it was a bunch of other people that was like, no, Baltimore has one of the best offensive coordinators in the world.
Yeah, well, you know what we said, right?
Yeah.
Hogwash. Bunk, as Babs would
As
say, and as my
Babs.
mom has said since I was a child.
Bunk, man.
Shenanigans.
Just
Flag on the
skullduggery.
play.
Just
Jerome Boger, let me point this way, even though I'm talking about this team.
But it bothers me though, because it's no matter if a team like Baltimore loses or Bills lose, there's always somebody trying to give them credit still. Like, we got to start looking at them for like their face value of what they are. The same way we're looking at Kansas City now.
And that's what I said about Buffalo yesterday. It's just like, I get it. On paper,
Yeah.
roster, totally get it. I need to see it on the field because you don't win games on paper.
No.
So right now, that's why Tennessee's the best team in AFC. I don't really need to hear another argument about it because the proof is in the results on the field. Are they the best 1-53? No, they're not, but it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It might eventually matter, but it doesn't matter yet.
Until they do something crazy or just, I don't even know if they can at this point.
I don't either.
I don't know if there's a team close.
As I told you before,
To the
they will
Titans right
lose.
now.
I've got them finishing 12-5 on this season. I don't know where those 3 losses are coming from.
I don't know either.
So I'm just not going to pick any of them. I'm going to be wrong when they lose because I'm just not going to pick them to lose again for the rest of the year. Oh, sorry, I gave up my prediction for the end here.
I just don't know where they will lose.
I don't either.
But of course, the way this league has gone, they can lose almost any week at
Yeah.
this point.
I mean, they're not going to finish 15-2, but they could still be the number 1 seed.
And
I don't know who will get them. It could be the Texans next week.
I think someone wins 13, it'll get them the number 1 seed this year.
I think it's
13 is
possible.
going to get it.
I think 13's going to get it.
I know Teron Davenport predicted 13-4.
13-4.
I
think you go 13-4, you get to top seed this
I agree.
year.
If you do, I think you do too.
Because the teams that have lost pretty much knocked themselves out of the number 1 seed unless the Titans just nosedive, I guess. Bills have lost. Ravens have lost. Raiders, Chargers.
There's nobody
There's
there's nobody not on that list.
Yeah.
Nobody. 615-737-1045. 737-1045. Maybe the better question is who's the second best team in AFC?
Yeah.
Right now, we know based on what's happening on the field who number 1 is. So who would you then put second on that list, especially after watching last night? Because I think one of the 2 contenders for that, we thought, last night certainly did not. It looked like Thursday Night Football.
Miami game from Lamar. He back home. You know
Sure.
what I'm saying? Like, I'm just
Sure.
throwing out Hollywood also.
Sure. Mike Sando today. Andy Staples today. Mike Keith today.
Hey.
Big show. Fun show. Plenty of time for you to get in. Go ahead and predict Titans, Saints, and try to answer that question. Who's the second best team in AFC right now? It is JMart and Ramon here on a Friday on 104.5 The Zone.
Tighten up! Gas pedal!
If you are thinking about selling your home, think about selling it to Open Door. Selling your home in Nashville, it can be hard, and Open Door will make it easy for you. Hey, it's Ramon Foster, and I went to Open Door and saw for myself how easy it is to get an offer. Selling to Open Door prevents you from having to keep your home show ready, no open houses, no prep work, and you won't have to make any of the repairs that you have in your house yourself. Open Door will look for recent sales in your area and come up with a competitive offer, a real offer, and you get to skip all the hard parts. You know exactly how much money you'll get, and you can close when you're ready, and all of this can be done online. Visit opendoor.com/myoffer for your free, no obligation, real offer. Hundreds of thousands of people have already requested their offer through Open Door. Now is the time to get your free offer and not stress out while selling your home. Go to opendoor.com. Again, that's opendoor.com. And offer eligibility varies. Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage, LLC. Skip over the traditional process and sell your home the new fashion way with opendoor.com.
Welcome back. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Doing the patriotic thing with the music today.
Hey.
Veterans Day yesterday.
Come on, Shay. Turn my ear up.
Celebrity playlist today is just the country.
Just the country.
Yeah.
Who more than self?
Yep. Titan salute to soldiers is this Sunday.
Create chaos.
Saints are in town.
Create chaos, Jay.
They might.
America.
Just looked up and saw another highlight from last night and got sick to my stomach. Because that wasn't football.
That was solid, Shay. You good, man.
That's right.
I don't know how long you've been doing this,
Too long.
but
Between
you
that,
good.
between that and the Odell news. I like Sam Monson.
No.
You know what's coming because of the inflection in my voice.
This butt is coming into the room.
Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Sam Munson from where, Jay?
Pro Football
You
Focus.
sound like a player now, man. Go ahead.
He immediately starts saying, no, the Rams aren't going all in. This is zero risk. You just cut him if there's a problem. Like, I get all that. I'm not even saying anything from a financial standpoint. My argument is just like, why do you bring him in when you've already got a number one guy that has a record number of targets, that you have perfect chemistry between him and his quarterback,
Yeah.
and you have some great number two guys? You got Robert Woods. You got Van Jefferson. You got Tyler Higbee, who's a really solid tight end. The thing you need is an offensive line, not another wide receiver, especially not one that wants the ball all the time and just had his dad put a video online about the last guy not being able to find him the football. Like, I don't see it as no risk because if he comes in and screws up the chemistry in the locker room, even if you cut him a month from now, what have you done to your team? Like, I know incentives if they get far in the playoffs and he does well and all this, like, it's not a lot financially. I just don't think you need this.
No.
I used a weird analogy. It's just like, why am I still looking at video games when I don't have time to play them?
CG wrecked you.
Like, there's no more room on the shelf yet. I still want Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I don't have time to do this, but I still want it. Like, how many weapons do the Rams need?
I feel him. I get the idea.
It just doesn't seem like a good fit at all.
Well, he left because of quarterback accuracy, getting the ball.
And he's got a good quarterback out there. There's no doubt about that.
I know, but I'm trying to make a case for why this can or cannot work too. But just looking at the targets, like, will Odell submit? Will he kiss the ring and say, "Hey, Cooper, this is your team"? Like, if you're looking at as far as being a threat, I get it. Yes. The threat of having Odell out there can mean something. But they just let go of a threat in Deshaun Jackson, who had, I think, their longest play of the year also. So if that's what you were looking for, cool. But I will say this. It's almost as if they can't get enough. And the article of their owner wanting to host this Super Bowl. Like, I'm looking at it and I'm trying to make sense of it all too. If he's ring chasing and he's okay with having 20 targets for the rest of the year, because this is Cooper Kupp's wide receiver room. The guy is leading the NFL. Listen to this. Well, what's a good number of targets on a season, Jay? Like 140?
That's a lot. That's even still probably a high number for most people.
140?
But he's on pace for 200.
Dude, we're just halfway through the season.
Right.
Cooper Kupp has 103 targets. 103 targets. 74 receptions. He's already over 1,000 yards receiving. Who's going to eat out there besides Cooper Kupp? Robert Woods is already legit. Van Jefferson is a good number 3, a good young number 3. And then you bring up Tyler Higbee.
How much is OBJ actually going to play with two bum shoulders?
That's where
And then the other thing that's not talked about here is, what OBJ are you getting? Because you're not getting the dude from the Giants, because this dude's hurt all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's hurt all the time, and at best now you get flashes of Odell. but you still get all of the baggage. You still get the guy that kicks the kicking net and has a fight with it on the sidelines. You still get that guy. You still get the guy that's angry when he doesn't get the ball. You still get that. You still get the diva, but I don't know if you get the all-star. I don't know if you get the Pro Bowler anymore.
I'll say this. Cleveland, the Browns got a way of pulling talent down anyhow. I'll say that just in me being petty, number one, but who's actually been good there? Yeah, I'm a little petty about that.
I know, but let's think about this. Were the Giants better because of him at the end?
He was better because of him, and that was it.
Right.
Yeah.
He's never really made a team better outside of those first few years where it was like him and Eli and it was working.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the injury and he came back from that and it wasn't quite the same, or if the Giants organization became – look, they're two bad organizations, and he's going to a good organization. I also just think he's going to an organization where he's not going to be happy because he's not the guy.
I'd love to know his mindset if he's going to speak out or say something about what this means to him. But right now you got Odell, you got Von. It's too many – like they got legit stars on this team. If you're playing Madden, the highlights that's around the players – you want to pick this team. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't know what you're going to get in real life because the NFL ain't Madden. NFL is like you got to go out and play. You got to find open receivers. You got to be able to, win games with the guys that you have. And they've been fine. Like the Titans went out there and, yes, they dogged them. I didn't think that warranted them trying to go get him. This isn't basketball where the Lakers are going to pick up everybody.
Exactly, and it's not really working either. And a lot of times it doesn't. Like Westbrook hadn't made them better. I can tell you that.
I really don't know what to think about
Ravens. I understood. Raiders, I understood. There were some that made sense to me. This one where they're already loaded at that position, and their problem is not moving the football. The problem is not scoring. Yeah, the Titans got them, but that's a rarity. Almost nobody's been able to do that this year. Who knows if the Titans would do it if they played again? I have no idea. Maybe we'll get to see that.
So let's look at that game then. If Odell is in that game, does it still matter?
No, I don't think so.
I don't either.
Because the offensive line still sucks.
Yeah. I think the Titans were a matchup nightmare for them. And I don't think, getting Odell, they got him for cheap, $500,000 signing bonus, and I think incentives up to like $3 million. So it's really not, that's a drop in the bucket for that team as far as the guy that Odell is. And I'll say this too, the show that he brings, they're going to make that money back. There's no problem with doing that. They're printing up jerseys right now. It's just offensively, does it work for them? He is a threat. I got to give him that much credit.
The one thing the Rams obviously are doing, and I do think being in L.A. makes this more relevant, they want names. They want names to fill that stadium. They want names to make the Rams the Lakers of the NFL. They need names to bring in the bigwigs to go watch them play. So they pay a ton of money to get Matthew Stafford. They get Von Miller. Now they get Odell Beckham Jr. They got a 2016 All-Star team right now. Similar to the Lakers in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Guys that are aging stars where you're trying to figure out what exactly they can do. The Lakers used to do that all the time. They kind of did that this offseason as well. Big names to try and fill a stadium, to try and create buzz. I just don't know that it made you better on the field. And I actually now don't think they make the Super Bowl because of this.
Yeah.
Because I don't see how bringing someone in that is prone to be a little selfish is going to make you better when it seemed like you had a pretty good team environment. But how about this? Like, what's this going to do to Robert Woods?
I'd be chapped.
Because Robert Woods is already upset, right?
Yeah.
At least for a little while there because Kupp was getting so many targets and they weren't throwing the ball to him. There's still only one football. If you bring in Odell, what's he going to do? Be a third down receiver? I don't think so.
But this is the thing. They just got rid of Deshaun Jackson for the same exact reasons.
And the Raiders decided to pick him up instead of even messing with Odell. They were like, we'll replace Ruggs' production with Deshaun Jackson.
Like, that was his whole thing. He wanted his targets. He wanted, involvement in the offense. And if I got my homegrown guys, my one and my two, Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, on top of having Van Jefferson, on top of having a really good tight end also, unless they are really just selling out to find ways to give Odell the ball or he just takes a back seat, it's the show. I'm with you on that. I think it's the showtime. But I will say this. You can't not have your eyes on a guy like Odell. It's going to be interesting to see what teams do to defend him. But if teams are smart, they do exactly what the Titans did this past week and wreck that offensive line.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you actually saw a blueprint in that game. Like, I know that who was it? It may have been Dak, or it was somebody with the Cowboys that said the Broncos game didn't show how to beat us. I do think that the Titans win over the Rams showed you what to do against the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think there's a possibility that the Dolphins last night showed you what to do against Lamar Jackson and Greg Roman's offense, at least, which is blitz him with DBs.
Mm-hmm.
They blitzed him 24 times from the secondary, which is the most in any game since 2015 by anybody against anybody.
Wow.
And you saw what it did to the Ravens offense.
It boxed the man.
It clipped the wings.
Yes, it did. It boxed the man, had Lamar confused. They took away his quick passes, they took away his deep passes, and they flushed him out and boxed him in. Like they did it. They had a really good rush plan last night. A bad team, but again, defense kind of wins, right? It wins. It can take over for you. And this, I want to see this game coming up with his involvement in it. I have to. Because I just don't see it being what we need it to be in order for them to get to the Super Bowl. And it's usually not the first year of it. It's the next year.
Yeah.
Whenever they figure it out.
That makes all the sense in the world. Let's go to Cuzzo Mike. He's up first. Go ahead, Mike.
What's up, Mike?
Yo, what up, bro?
Hey.
What's up? Y'all been having a good week?
Man,
pretty
solid
good.
as can get.
That's what's up. I had training somebody because piece of bad habits to call the radio shows, while I'm driving. But yeah, so let me ruin your week. I remember a couple weeks ago, Jay, you and Sally, y'all was best friends when y'all thought Lamar was gonna be MVP. I remember that. I remember you was Lamar. Oh, Lamar, give me a purple jersey. He's my MVP. That's all I heard.
Mm-hmm.
And now look what done happened. You done got exposed. I'm gonna get on my tallywhacker job. And we went into the season saying that the Ravens would not make the playoffs. Remember? So
Yeah, no, I'm wrong about it. No question.
Yeah. We went into the season saying that, like, because of the offensive coordinator and because, thinking that Lamar wasn't going to finish strong. And, I mean, that's how it was turning out, man. So, week by week, things is really looking how we all agreed they was going to look in the off season. Just a couple of upset games, a couple of people looking like they wasn't going to fall off that horse. And so, change the narrative. But really, things are right back on track.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my tallywhacker. That's my tallywhacker job right there. So let's get into this game Sunday, and I'll try to be quick. Last week, Jay, you was like, do I ever go against the Titans? I do, but I'm not going to say that they're going to lose against the Saints, and I'm not going to use that C word that rhymes with Hurts. I'm not going to say that. But what I will say is that Sean Payton, we all know, good coach. He go out there and good coach. He knows how to scheme good. He knows how to put his offense in a good position to win, even with Jameis and Winston. So I think the Saints is going to play up. I'm not going to say the Titans is going to play down because I think our defense is so strong and the chemistry is so good right now that we're going to make Trevor Siemian look bad. But I do think Taysom Hill could maybe, come in with some gadget plays, some trick plays, and, catch our defense off guard. Bright side. I'm always going to give you the bright side of my two-tone blue, baby. Bright side. Pretty much AP coming in with a chip on his shoulder. He didn't get to perform how obviously he was hoping he was last Sunday. Your boy Dante Foreman, big dude, he looking to get out there, and he obviously looking to beat some people up, out there on the field also. So I think the run game is going to come back a little bit stronger, and I think our passing game really ain't been up to bore like how we all expecting them to be. But I'm not going to be surprised to sum it all up. Not going to be surprised if the Saints play up. Not going to use that word that rhymes with hers.
Right.
I'm going to say I'm not going to use it. Not going to say that, but I'm not going to be surprised if the Saints play up and they get us this weekend.
Yeah.
So there you go. I'm not a two-tone fanatic. I'm a
Got you.
realist. Y'all be blessed.
You too,
Deuces.
Mike.
Stay
Thanks,
safe.
man. Look, and I've said this before. I was just like, this is the kind of game I would watch out for.
No, but
I don't think you lose it, but I've seen a lot of weird stuff happen in the NFL, and you're coming in with a team that is completely, it looks like they're depleted. It looks like they have no chance, which is why you just got to watch yourself. You better show up and play because they're going to show up. Their guys are going to show up, try to make a statement.
yeah. And the defense is nice. You got
Yeah, the defense is very nice.
The
Very
defense
nice.
is nice. And that's what we've seen win these games too. Is tight games. Like that's what it's boiled down to. The offenses just have off days, and the defenses just really turn up. And you just hope you have another Kevin Byard pick six or something.
So the question of the day is, who's the second best team in the AFC after watching last night? And if we agree that the Titans are number one, although the first response was the Titans are the second best team in the AFC. I saw
said
that.
that?
Some listener
Oh, wow.
or someone that voted in the poll. And there's another poll question, which is, what's your confidence level this weekend with the Saints? Are you worried about it all? Are you concerned? Do you think they're a live dog? Do you think the Titans are good to go? Gas pedal, all that good stuff. It's our vote. We'll get you some of the best comments and get to more of your phone calls on the other side. 615-737-1045. What is your confidence level? And who is the second best team in the AFC? We're still trying to figure it out. We'll get to more of your phones on the other side here. JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Hey, it's JMart. Next time you're at home, if you notice your doors and windows sticking, chimney leaning, your basement wall bowing, cracks in your bricks, drywall separating concrete not level, all these signs of a possible foundation issue with your home when it comes to foundation repair, nobody will handle it faster and better than United Structural Systems. They've been here in Middle Tennessee for over 25 years, actually closer to 30 now. Their integrity and reputation couldn't be stronger. A-plus rating with a Better Business Bureau backs that up, and they're locally owned. United Structural Systems, not a franchise. That means they're here. Means they've been in this community for a while, and they customize solutions for you and your family, for every homeowner they serve, depending on your specific needs. How they work with everything they do, they diagnose the problem. They give you a detailed free estimate before you have to make a decision, so you're going to figure out what's going on before you ever have to make a call on it, and then you don't pay a dime until the work's done, and they know you're satisfied. Not a dime. Over 20,000 satisfied customers and counting can tell you. You can feel awesome about placing the call to United Structural Systems. I want you to do it today and tell them JMart sent you. 615-227-2275. That's 227-2275 or online at ussTN.com. United Structural Systems. Welcome back, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. In honor of the veterans, we're just extending Veterans Day another day. Giving that to the celebrity playlist here on this Friday. It's JMart and Ramon, at JMart and Ramon on Twitter. Mike Sando, Andy Staples, Mike Keith, all set to join us over the next 3 hours of the program. 615-737-1045 is our telephone number. Let's go to Jermaine in Nashville. Jermaine, what's going on?
What's up, Jermaine?
Hey, JMart, Ramon, hey, what's going on?
Good
Hey,
morning.
man,
Good
we're
morning.
Hey, man, unfortunately, I got a real good memory. I'm about to do a donkey of the day, if that's all right with y'all.
Well, let's do it, man. We need to get the donkey wall going anyway.
It's Friday,
All
right?
right, that'll work. All right, so for the previous caller, what's his name, Cuzzo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm about to get on him. Do y'all remember a couple of weeks ago, Cuzzo called in. He started getting on JMart talking about if you're going to be on the Titan station, you better make sure you're a Titan fan and put on your pom-poms and give everybody their flowers, eat them to suck, and eat the chip for the Titans all the time. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he really got into his feelings. Well, if you heard him call today, he said sometimes I bet against the Titans.
You're choosing violence.
Oh, well.
You sniped Jermaine.
Wait, he paused too long. Sorry.
Down before I make change.
I wasn't really trying to snipe him. I thought he was done. I thought he was actually head clipped off.
I felt like he had more.
What Mike said is smart today, because in this league, when you start to feel too good about yourself, that's when you get got. We saw it last night. We've seen it with the Bengals. We've seen it with the Raiders. We've seen it with the Bills. We've seen it with everybody. The Titans are not impervious to this.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans, until like 5 minutes ago, were the team you couldn't trust against bad teams. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that being the thing that you would hear over and over again? And Mike's whole deal is about the underdog. They're not the underdog this weekend. They're a 3-point favorite, which is not a huge favorite.
Yeah.
It means Vegas is kind of watching this one closely.
Mm-hmm.
But what Mike is saying is accurate. Like, if you go into it knowing and having respect for the opponent, then you have a chance not to get got. But if you show up like, oh, they're going to roll over, they don't have Kamara, they got Trevor Siemian, that's when you get beat.
It is.
That's when you get beat. Tony the Stud. Go ahead, Tony.
Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, I'll just relay right off of that straight away. I don't think that's going to be the case, though, this week. I truly do feel like this will be the 1 week where the Titans, now they see that Baltimore lost last night, and you have an opportunity at home against a team that is coming on the road without probably, well, I think Alvin is going to be out. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's going to be out. Trevor Siemian's going to get the start. And if I heard correctly yesterday, they're playing a little bit of ill. Listen, I'm just going to be honest with you. I think they're going to feast this week.
Yeah.
I honestly, really, really, truly feel I'm not feeling myself. I promise you I'm not. I've looked and tried to look for reasons that the Titans wouldn't win this game, and they would just flat out not have to show up. I mean, the way that they've been playing lately, they literally would have to not show up. The Titans are going to roll in this game. I'm taking the Titans 31-6. I think this game is just an absolute fun game for everybody in the stands, and I just don't see them losing. And by the way, Ramon,
Yeah.
Vols covered. Go Big Orange!
Go Vols,
I
baby.
think it's a 20-point game right now. 20-point spread for Georgia tomorrow.
Appreciate Tony acknowledging that he wasn't feeling himself on the call. Appreciate you, Tony.
Yeah. I mean, 31-6, okay. I mean, certainly you could. A lot of things that could happen, but we're just asking for your thoughts today and how you're feeling about it and whether or not there's any kind of just uneasiness after you've seen what's happened in the league. There are teams that 1-53 are stronger than the Titans from a roster standpoint, top to bottom, and they found a way to lose.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Brady, who probably is the MVP right now, what do you think?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got it. Tom, yeah.
When do you think
Kyler's-
Tom's probably the MVP right now if you were voting?
Kyler's missed a game.
And they won without him
Yeah. Yeah.
over San Francisco?
I got to give it to Tom. Who else is playing this good right now?
Right. I mean, Tom, like I was looking at the stats, he's got 2,650 yards, a 67% completion percentage, 25 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. It's hard to go against that.
Yeah.
They lost to New Orleans
Mm-hmm.
with Trevor Siemian.
Yeah.
I'm just not, like I said, I'm not trying to scare you to death. I am saying you better daggone well have respect for whoever it is that the Titans are playing or whoever your team is playing, because this league right now is humbling people every single week. 615-737-1045. 737-1045. How do you think it'll be won? Who will win it? Do you think it's going to be a blowout? Do you think it's going to be close? Are you worried at all? Those are all things that we have in our poll. Also, second best team in the AFC is our question of the day. If we can agree for right now the Titans are number one, then who would be number two, especially after what we saw last night? A lot of guests coming. Andy Staples, Mike Sando, Mike Keith, a special guest as well. Looking forward to the remainder of this program here, and we'll get back to it after the headlines here on JMart and Ramon 104.5 The Zone.
If you didn't know, the used and new car market is kind of weird these days. The prices are high and the demand is real short on what you want. There's a huge car shortage, but the demand on people wanting to buy stuff is high as you want it to be right now. We know this to be true. Buying a car is a major financial commitment, and it's often an overwhelming process. You need a place where you can go figure out how you want to buy a car, what's the value of your car if you're trading in something, so that you and your family and friends can get what's appropriate in the market. Edmunds has been taking the stress out of the entire car shopping process for over 50 years, and they've been keeping track of everything happening in the market to help you shop with confidence. And the thing is this, trying to find what's the right appraisal for your car is a hard thing these days. But I'm telling you this, at Edmunds.com, they will help you and figure out what's your trade-in values and have all the negotiation tools on their website. The used car prices and values are continuing to climb to a new record high. And I'm telling you this, if you have a car and you want to go get one, now is the time to get the most out of it. I've seen people buy a car and resell it quick as they can to get a return on their investment. And that usually never happens with cars. If you're looking to trade in a car, want to find the right value, Edmunds.com is the place to help you out. They've been in the car shopping business for over 50 years. They'll give you the right price guidance, and it's all in one place at Edmunds.com. Edmunds give you the resource for every part of the process of buying or selling your car. You can use their online tools to build your budget or calculate your financing options. They ensure any listing is a fair deal with built-in deal ratings. Get a free online appraisal in under 1 minute with options for a real cash offer from participating dealerships. No personal information is required. That is the best part to me. Spend less time stressing at a dealership and get the most out of your car shopping done before you leave your house. Once you know how much your trade-in is worth, you can set your budget and start searching for a new or used vehicle near you. Car shopping can be stressful. Edmunds is here to help. Visit Edmunds.com to get your free online appraisal today and start searching for vehicles in your area. That's EDMUNDS.com for cars. There's Edmunds. And thank you to Edmunds for sponsoring JMart and Ramon.
7:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. The Miami Dolphins upset the Baltimore Ravens 22-10 on Thursday Night Football. Not a good night for Lamar Jackson, limited to just 238 yards passing and 39 yards rushing, scoring just one touchdown. The Ravens turned the ball over twice. The Dolphins were able to directly capitalize off of one of them with a fumble return for a touchdown. Ravens now 6-3. That gives the Titans a full one-game lead atop the AFC. Titans host the Saints Sunday. League Company countdown to kickoff 9 a.m. Mike Keith, Dave McGinnis with the call starting at noon. Odell Beckham Jr. has signed with the L.A. Rams. Cam Newton has rejoined the Carolina Panthers, who have massive QB problems right now. Tennessee hosts top-ranked Georgia. Kickoff set for 2:30. That game can be heard right here on The Zone, courtesy of the Vol Network tomorrow. High school football playoff action. Week 2 of the playoffs. Riverdale at Lebanon this evening. Lucas Panzica, Ramon Foster, Will Bowling will be on the call for that. NHL Nashville Predators remain red hot. Defeated the St. Louis Blues in overtime last night, 4-3. Nashville 7-1-1 in their last 9 games. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Now we're number 2, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville, allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. Go there to learn more. Step up your game when it comes to your garage door. 150 years combined residential and commercial experience. 11-year NFL veteran involved for life. Ramon Foster and Jonathan Schaefer joining me. I'm Jason Martin, at Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon. Question of the day, who's the second best team in the AFC? If, at least for the time being, we say the Titans are number 1 because of what they're doing on the field. And after what we saw last night on Thursday Night Football, which probably had to look away at some point.
Mm-hmm.
If you love football, that was a place where football went to die last night. Andy Staples will join us from The Athletic in about 15 minutes from right now. That was a terrible football game, fellas. Just a terrible football game.
Oh, me, oh, my. It's what the NFL has been this year. It's been having a problem, a substance problem, it seemed like. It's nothing about it can get right. It can't go to rehab. You're in the middle of the season. Cam's back. You heard Shafe say that in the update. He's back with Carolina. So why did you trade for Sam Darnold? So many weird things going on. You have Arizona last weekend win without Nook and without Kyler Murray. What is this league?
I saw earlier, like, some of the analytics guys are now suggesting that quarterback play right now is the worst it's been in almost a decade in the NFL. Despite the quarterback talent, the actual play has been bad. That we're looking at just kind of a terrible season of football compared to what we had seen in some years past and what you expected to get from these quarterbacks. Now, you still see some solid performances from some guys. But, I mean, even if you look at, like, Tannehill's not having any kind of a stellar year when it comes to numbers. It depends on what it is that you're looking at. But it's true, like, the NFL, it hasn't been great football this year.
Mm-hmm.
Offensive line play, as you've mentioned, hadn't been very good. And quarterbacks have just been – they've been turning it over. They've been inconsistent. Mm-hmm. You start to like one, they go away. And that's why I say, you know, Tom is probably the MVP because Tom's been the closest thing that you can find. 25 touchdowns, 5 interceptions on a team that may still be the most talented in the entire NFL.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, for sure. At this point, definitely. But it's what's so wild, though, it's still a whole lot of season left to be played out, Jay. We're just now game 1 last night with the Ravens and Dolphins. That's game 1 of the second half of the season. There's a lot of football left to be played out. The Titans I think they might have the easiest schedule coming back the rest of the year, but even a team like the Rams, they still have. They got Monday night at San Francisco, then they got a bye. They go to Green Bay. They got the Jags. Then they're at Arizona again. They got Seattle, Minnesota, and Baltimore, and again San Francisco. There's no telling what the Rams are going to look like. So right now, my two teams three teams. You got to still throw Arizona in there, Tampa, and then the Titans. Then is everybody else at this point. Yes, Buffalo can do something, but they've yet to do anything. They're like the cartoon character with the stick and the frog just trying to flip it up, or Peter Griffin when he's using his shoebox to lift the frog up. Like, they're dropping the ball. Kansas City, no, not really. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, no, not really. Lamar and the Ravens, nothing. Cowboys, maybe, but they got boat race this past weekend by your squad. Who's solid? It's three solid teams right now, and everybody else. It's like Georgia and everybody else in college football right now. That's the life we live in.
Yeah. And that's why it's so hard to determine who's good, who's not. I saw Robert Mays put up a pretty funny meme last night where he was like, is there anybody in the AFC that's good? Like, really, really good. And you can argue because of there are holes everywhere. But I think it's fair for us to now say the Titans are the best team in the AFC at present. So who's the second best team in the AFC? Let's go to, well, this might be easy. Steelers guy in Nashville. What's going on, Steelers guy?
Hello?
You there?
Oh, no.
That's a bad representation, Shay.
Oh, no.
And you going to answer the call, Steelers? No.
Oh, man.
No. Am I impressed?
Frying Pan, are you there?
What's up, Frying Pan?
Hey guys,
Hey.
I'm here. Hey, let's talk about the Ratbirds just for a second, the Baltimore Ravens. Hey, you know, I grew up a Bengals fan, and the Bengals totally dominated that team 3 weeks ago. Let's just be honest, the Bengals are average. And then, of course, the Dolphins beat them last night, a bad Dolphins team. You know, I've always said it. People laugh at me. No disrespect to Lamar Jackson. He's a one-trick pony, man. You bring pressure on that guy. You make him beat you throwing the ball. The Dolphins, like y'all said earlier, they were blitzing cornerbacks. And why did they do that? Because they know cornerbacks can run with Lamar Jackson. They can trip him up, get him to the ground. So I think if you go number 2 team in the AFC, as bad as it hurts me to say, I would have to say the way Pittsburgh's been playing the last few weeks, you almost got to put them number 2. I don't know about the Raiders or the Chargers. They're up and down. But, yeah, Lamar Jackson, shut him down. You beat the Ravens. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. It's been discussed a little bit in the zone chat, too, and we kind of thought this was going to be the wave at some point. Offenses for the last few years have what, Jay? They've just taken off.
Mm-hmm.
College has gone to the NFL. The NFL has got quarterbacks doing amazing things. We're looking at Zach Wilson last night. I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday. Zach Wilson was a guy, and you brought this up on the show too, and now it's looking like he's not the guy. You know, you watch what Patrick Mahomes has done, and yes, there's a lot of season left, but for the last 3 years, he's been doing Superman-like things. Lamar has been doing Superman-like things also. Get Dak back into the fold, but maybe it's defenses turning the corner again too, and it's got to be a correction at some point. There has to be a correction at some point, and you get found out with enough tape, with enough of a microscope on you, and it could be a little bit of that, and it's frustrating for teams to operate. And offensive coordinators like Greg Roman can't operate the way they want to.
Well, and again, we already said Greg Roman.
But you remember we were chapped about that ranking that he had.
When he was a top 8
top
offensive.
5.
I think it was
well,
top 8.
Yeah, it was top 8. Yeah.
Offensive coordinator last year, and like Arthur Smith wasn't mentioned in that list, and that didn't make any sense to us.
And look what he's doing.
And the other thing is, again, how many of these big-time free agent wideouts last offseason, and even to Odell, how many of them picked Baltimore?
No.
None of them. 0. They had to go draft 2 guys. Nobody. It's Hollywood Brown still. It's Mark Andrews still.
Barely.
That's the thing. Like, that's why I was like, oh, I mean, if Odell wants to win, then go to Baltimore, right?
Listen at this, though. Baltimore's lead receiving, Rashad Bateman, 64-80.
Right, he's a rookie.
Mark Andrews, 6 for 63. Tight end. Okay, like I'm with it. Yes. And then Marquise Brown, 6 for 37. Devin Duvernay, 4 for 28. Dante Freeman, 3 for 23. Sammy Watkins, the free agent signing, 1 for 7.
Yeah.
And then again, this is a guy who I felt like they should have utilized a whole lot more. You got Le'Veon Bell, man, who's a combo running back. You got to find a way to put him on the field and get him the ball.
Trash.
Why would you even bring him?
I don't know if he's got anything left, man.
Well, I'm just saying in the sense of like his passing. The run game, maybe not. He was 3 for 1 yards. 3 carries, 1 yard last night. 1 yard.
I'm just saying, it seems to me that the ship may have sailed on Le'Veon.
I'm with you, but why?
Because he couldn't get on the field in Kansas City.
Sure.
He barely did anything with the Jets. And now the Ravens, well, they signed every running back that came available. They signed everybody. They brought in Devontae Freeman. They brought in Le'Veon Bell. For some reason, Tyson Williams still doesn't get an opportunity.
Thought they should have went with him.
So do I. I
From
thought
the
that since
get-go.
the beginning.
Yep.
615-737-1045 is how you reach us. When we come back, we will have Andy Staples of The Athletic. We'll try to figure out Georgia and then what? Who does number 2 work for? I'm going to ask him that right off the top. But right now we bring in my good friend Bree Barnett over at Lee Company. Bree, what's going on this Friday?
What's up, you guys? How are you guys doing this morning?
Pretty well. A couple days ago, had you guys in the house again. Now we have an HVAC that is actually made this century, so that's a positive.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I was going to say the weather earlier this week was fantastic. Don't you guys think so?
Yeah, it was. It may have been. I don't know if we're going to get too much more of it, but that's why it's time to get the HVAC taken care of. We got the downstairs done last year, but the upstairs, we had you guys in the house, and they're like, yeah, that's 17 years old, and the refrigerant isn't made anymore. Well, maybe we should do something about that, and so we did. But getting people into your house to look at the HVAC, I know you guys are putting an emphasis on that, and for good reason.
Yeah, especially with the temperatures dropping this weekend. So I just wanted to join you guys this morning and remind any of your listeners to schedule your HVAC maintenance. Maintenance should happen about twice a year just to make sure that your unit is working in tip-top shape for anybody all year long.
Yeah, absolutely right. So tell us the deets on it. I think what was it, $59 right now? You could get somebody out there to take a look at the HVAC.
Yep, absolutely. You can do $59, and it's per unit, and so you can get that checked out. We also have a home maintenance plan where that has the 2 HVAC visits a year, but you also get an electrical and a plumbing inspection. And so that is $99 per unit at your home. It's a great deal. I personally am on the home maintenance plan. I love having the guys, all my friends, come into the house to make sure that my house is ready for whatever the season might bring.
Yeah, no, absolutely true. Everybody comes in. Does Lee Company hire people that don't smile? I wanted to ask you that before we let you go, because all of you guys have jokes. Literally all of you. Like the guy made like 5 jokes while he was showing us that he was going to be sending us videos from the visual findings platform when he was in the house on Wednesday. He just kept making jokes. I was just like, do I have to order 2 items to stay in here? Like, is this Zany's? But everybody that comes in from Lee Company has a smile on their face and gets the job done, and it's really easy to place that phone call.
Well, let me answer you with this. What does a turkey's phone sound like?
Gobble, gobble.
I don't know the answer to that. Gobble, gobble, as Ramon Foster just said, would have been my answer.
Appreciate that, Ramon. It's actually wing, wing, wing.
Oh. Write that one down. My daughter will enjoy that in a couple of years.
So, yes, we're always smiling. We always got jokes. I mean, you have to. Life is just too hard if you don't take a second to have a good laugh.
Bree, I need to get to commercial break now. Thank you so much.
All right, sounds good. See you guys later.
Okay, that's Bree Barnett at Lee Company. The telephone number is 615-567-1000, 567-1000. Get your HVAC tuned up and get a dad joke along the way. It's LeeCompany.com. For all you need in your home, obviously, Lee Company. We're back. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 Zone. We're doing the patriotic thing. Veterans Day was yesterday, but we can salute them every day. So we're handing over the celebrity playlist to the country today. But we got to talk real fast before we bring on Andy. Andy Staples, the Athletic, come up here in just a second. So there's been a Honda outside the studio. Engine on, lights on.
Yeah.
Female in the front seat. We got a Best Western right next to the studio, and we've got a Comfort Inn right across the street. And a condo set.
Oh, and several condo buildings.
Several.
Yes.
And it appears we're in a full-on Emilio Estevez, Richard Dreyfuss stakeout situation right now. It's a possibility the guy in 213B needs to stay in 213B. We think she's fallen asleep in the car because she's been there all night long. And look, Taylor Swift put out the re-release today. She's probably in the car right now singing along to that.
Her head has not moved in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The car's just there.
Because we're on the top floor of our building, so we're able to basically look down into the car.
Yeah.
Her head hasn't moved. She's out.
I walked on the balcony earlier and she was moving around, readjusting. She was up then.
Phrasing.
She was up then. Now she's asleep. So if you're trying to make a run for it, did you say Joe in 213B?
I mean, if you want to do it, you better go Isaiah and go off the balcony.
Joe, if you're in there with your other girl, now is the time to sneak her out. I heard that balcony joke.
Jason.
Wasn't a joke. It was an almost story. I'm glad he didn't do it.
We're keeping our eye out.
But something's about to get real. There could be a problem.
You're not waiting to. It was what, since Shafe got here at 3 o'clock?
Yeah.
5 o'clock, not 3.
Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. This is a perfect way to bring in this guy. Our pal from the Athletic, Andy Staples, is on the line. Andy, how are you?
Do you feel like you should bring her some donuts or something?
She caught, like, it's an obvious car, too. It's a 2-door Honda, dog. Like, that's too easy, and it's white.
Is that obvious? I mean, aren't Hondas the most commonly driven vehicle? Like the Honda Accord's like the most commonly purchased car in America, or maybe it's the Camry.
It's one of the two, yeah.
It's the 2-door Civic, I think. I don't even know if they're making that one anymore.
That's true. That was the one. That was an aspirational vehicle when I was in high school. for lots of people.
So we'll keep you updated on everything that's going on out there in the listening audience. But Andy, I heard you and Ari Wasserman say this on the Andy Staples Show podcast last Saturday night. Who does number 2 work for? And I died laughing because I feel like, and I think I heard you guys say this too, everybody feels like they're number 4 or 5. There's nobody that I look at past Georgia and feel particularly good about. Is that still the case, or have you tried to make an argument for somebody at this point, or what is the state of college football past Georgia right now?
No, I don't. It is still the case. And look, if Tennessee puts up like 28 on Georgia, even if Georgia wins, I'm going to be like, now nobody feels like number 1. But no, it feels like there's a big separation between Georgia and the next group, and Alabama's there sort of, not really by default, but sort of like, okay, you've got these teams in this bucket, and you feel like they're all somewhat flawed, but which one would you favor against the rest? And that's Alabama. So you put them at number 2, and then you just sort of do that exercise again and again until you get it right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a difficult exercise to try and do because, as you said, they're all flawed, and I don't know who is playing the best of them right now. Who do you believe in the least that still has some kind of an opportunity? Is it Oregon? I mean, Ohio State's shown flaws. We know how much talent they've got. Right. Who is it that you're looking at that's still in the mix that you just absolutely can't buy into right now?
It feels like Oregon's been hanging by a thread for a while. Really, I mean, they lost to Stanford, and then the Cal game was too close. The UCLA game was closer than it should have been. They were in control, and they tried to give it away. They crushed Colorado, but it's Colorado. And then the Washington game should have been a lot easier than it was. They just never make anything easy. They definitely have to play Utah next week, and they're probably going to have to play Utah twice. They've got Washington State and Pac-12 After Dark this week. So they feel like they've been riding the razor's edge, and that feels like the most likely one to take a tumble.
Well, a question too. Well, of course, I'm wearing orange today, just so you know. I got my orange Yeti bottle Okay, I got on orange socks. So I think we got hope this weekend. Georgia just lost, I think, a linebacker and a wide receiver this week. How do you envision this game still going? And then, yes, I know Georgia's stacked, but what's the likely outcome with Georgia versus this Tennessee offense?
I would say it probably will look a lot like the Florida-Tennessee game, where Tennessee had a couple big plays and you know, the offense worked at times, but Georgia's defense eventually clamps down. Georgia's offense is interesting because I think people feel like it's limited because of Stetson Bennett. I don't think it's limited. I think they just do what they need to do. They don't take a lot of risks because the defense makes it where they don't need to. But I have a feeling if they got dragged into a game where they needed to score a bunch of points, they could score a bunch of points.
Yeah. And on the other side of that, too, just looking at the SEC in general, Florida, their situation, their head coach. Right now, they are behind South Carolina in the SEC East. What do you even make of this Florida team at this point?
I don't know. I mean, they fired their defensive coordinator and their offensive line coach this week. We will see if that makes any difference. They sure look like they had packed it in for the season when they played against South Carolina last week. I mean, that was embarrassing. So they play Samford this week. Motivation is going to be a problem, I can tell you right now, because who gets up for that game? That's not a game they'd get up for if they were having a good season. So they've got to figure out how to motivate those guys. And I don't think they're going to lose this one. But they play Missouri and Florida State, and they better beat Missouri and Florida State if Dan Mullen wants to keep coaching at Florida, because I think if they lose either one of those, it becomes a real different conversation.
Do you still feel like he's relatively safe right now, or how warm is Dan Mullen's seat coming off the South Carolina loss and the comments about recruiting? It seems like every time he talks, it's easy to like him less.
Well, he handled his press conference this week pretty well. I was there, and you know he took more responsibility than he ever had before, and so he handled that. And look, when he talked about recruiting, it wasn't that they're not recruiting year-round. They are recruiting year-round. It's just that it clearly was a sore spot for him. And it's a sore spot because they're not recruiting as well as they should at Florida. You should be getting top 5 classes every once in a while at Florida, and he's never done that. And right now they're sitting at like number 22. So that's the issue. The issue for them is trajectory. Yeah. You know, if you don't have a good recruiting class coming in, which at the moment they don't, and then if – like, say, Florida State seems to be surging ahead of you. Let's say Florida State beats them. You know, that's a big moment on the field. But also, Florida State has the number 1 overall recruit in the country committed for the class of 2022. And he's been committed for over a year. And they're going to look at it and say, how come Mike Norvell, losing to Jacksonville State, can get dudes like this and you can't?
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Yeah, the DB, right, that's going to Florida State. That's insane.
Travis Hunter's his name. He's from Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild to me too. Oh, so to the college football playoffs, what's actually got to happen for Cincy to actually get in the show? And I know somebody's got to lose, but if they do get to the 4th spot, will they actually compete, Andy? Because that's going to be I think that's the biggest thing that's holding them back is, will it actually be a true playoff game if somebody does happen to lose and Cincinnati gets in this top 4?
If only we'd seen Cincinnati play the team that's number 1 in the country in a bowl game last year.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Both those teams are better than they were last year, but that was a very competitive game. So I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that they could compete with Georgia if they wind up having to play them. I mean, so I give them about as much chance as I give Oregon.
Yeah,
that's probably about fair. I would say that. LSU job, Andy.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I know you will. But I actually wanted to ask you about the USC job too, because I know you mentioned Dave Clawson's name, and Ramon sees red whenever he hears Dave Clawson's name because of.
I know, and Ramon lived through that, but Ramon, let's think about how much fault for 2008 lies with Dave Clawson. Did he recruit everybody? Did he?
So can I take you on field for a little bit with this situation?
Yeah, by all means.
The offense, the offense even on a college level was overly predictable. You had guys running specific things where tendencies were figured out early in the season. We played Florida, and I had college players who don't watch film the way NFL players do, saying, hey, the play's coming here. We need to move over here. And they were. You had us in positions where we couldn't even put up points against a Wyoming team. You go 5-7 with returning all SEC running back. You had one of the best offensive lines in the country still, and you had a very capable quarterback who the next year had a really good year in Jonathan Crompton and also got drafted. And you still dropped the ball with a first-round defensive end, Eric Berry playing on that offense, on that defense, and another first-rounder in Dan Williams, and you still came up short.
Now, could the head coach have been involved in the offense as well?
I don't think the head coach was involved in offense. I think as far as picking the guy for it, then probably something there.
All I know is Dave Clawson had no trouble scoring anywhere else, and he's in a Power 5 league now, and he has very little trouble scoring against good teams in the Power 5, despite having a recruiting disadvantage at Wake Forest. So and I know you lived through it, but I am tempted to look at that one season as an outlier because every other season of his career, now here's the difference, he's been the head coach every other time.
Well,
every other one has been successful.
I'll say this too, and he's a good guy. I'll give him that. But after he left UT, he stopped that strong quick side too. He's no longer flipping sides.
And maybe he learned something. That's right. I forgot he did that. Yes, I mean, like I know there was still some teams, like I think Louisville did that under Petrino when Lamar was there. But that's one of those things that like you stop seeing in high school usually. So. It may be that he took something from the experience and learned, sort of like, Coach Orgeron took something from the Ole Miss experience and learned it at least for 2019.
Andy, do you actually think Clawson is going to end up somewhere else? I mean, it's hard not to be super impressed with what he's done and how he's done it. I grew up 5 miles from the Wake campus. So, I mean, I know that area, and I know the disadvantages that come with being the coach there, especially in football in terms of recruiting and all that. And Clawson has a pretty good reputation, if I'm not mistaken, about being just kind of a good dude, like somebody that you kind of want to root for behind the scenes.
Yeah, he's easy to work with, according to the people that work with him. But I would actually not handicap him to leave. I think he feels like he's got it pretty good there. They've invested a lot in football, and I think that experience at Tennessee also taught him, the places you go, it's pretty damn cutthroat. And maybe you don't want to be there. Maybe it's nice to be happy and make a lot of money and win games and be at a place that you enjoy and not tempt fate. So of the guys that I think will get looks, I'd say he's probably the least likely to make a move.
Yeah.
The story yesterday, Lincoln Riley saying, no big deal here. But we had heard his name kind of floated just in terms of they'll take big swings at big guys and make them tell them no. Do you think there's a reasonable shot at all that Lincoln Riley's going to be somewhere else next year?
I don't think so. I think if he moves to be the NFL, but it doesn't sound like that's anything he wants to do. And he's got the quarterback now that you're going to want to have for the next 2. I mean, he's got Caleb Williams for 2 more years. So I don't know that you want to do anything unless it's absolutely perfect, whatever, the thing you always dreamed of. Because Oklahoma is still in a good spot. They're undefeated. They're hitting the meat of their schedule now. I mean, I don't even think they have to win the rest of their games. I think if they go 3-1, and as long as the one loss isn't in the Big 12 championship game, I think they're going to make the playoffs. So I think they're fine. Is
there any chance Caleb Williams could actually win the Heisman, considering how things changed the second he got into that lineup? It's obvious how valuable a player he is, but certainly he didn't get the same number of reps because he didn't start until the Tennessee game or until the Texas game, then didn't start until the week after.
I don't think so. The Heisman race is going to be weird this year. Unless somebody really just distinguishes themselves over the next 3 weeks, I think it's going to be a huge split vote. A case where the winner gets like the fewest first place votes ever. Right now, if I'm voting now, number 1 on my ballot would be Will Anderson from Alabama. There's not really anybody who's been close to as dominant as he has.
Oh wow. Okay, and I know it's far-fetched, and they have a trophy for him, the Outland, but Jordan Davis,
he'd be up there too.
Okay,
he might be on the ballot. Now Davis, because of the nature of the position, and Georgia being so deep, they rotate him out. He just doesn't play as many snaps. Like Anderson has to play a ton of snaps, even more than usual for an Alabama guy. And So that's probably the biggest issue with Davis is the limited snaps, because everything else, I mean, people have to change their entire game plan for Jordan Davis. Every time he's on the field, he affects the play.
So right now we're seeing a trend of early high drafted quarterbacks actually kind of fizzling out super quick. And I ain't going to say that real, definitively, but Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, watching these young guys right now just not do the job in which we thought they would. And I'm looking at the quarterbacks coming out this year in college. Who's actually going to be NFL ready when it comes down to drafting a guy? Because you know how I know. They're going to boost up their ratings and just paint the picture, hey, this is a quarterback league. But who's a strong quarterback right now?
Kenny Pickett and Carson Strong, maybe? I mean, that you feel confident just putting them in right away?
Yeah.
Because, like, Malik Willis in the offense he plays in, he's got all these tools, but he needs a year or so of sitting in the NFL to be ready, because he's just got so much to learn because he's not doing it in the offense he plays in now. Sam Howell, I think that's another one where he could be okay, but you got to give him some time, because what he's going to get into is going to be so different than what he does now. The other, like Pickett, probably can step in right now, and you needed a change of protection, he's going to do it, and like he would understand that stuff. But there just really aren't many quarterbacks coming out this year that you'd feel confident that either they've worked in a system where they can blend seamlessly into an NFL system, or they're just so talented that you can't keep them off the field. There's not really anybody like that.
Yeah, I know you were pretty high on Matt Corral, and I think so were we, but now we're just kind of watching and wondering.
I think Corral could be fine in the NFL. I actually like Corral probably more than anybody else in terms of long-term NFL future, but I don't know that you want you want to throw Matt Corral as a starter immediately in the NFL. But in terms of it factor and arm strength and mobility and kind of pocket awareness, he's probably better than anybody else.
Yeah, and that's a problem, because he's probably going to get drafted early, and usually the fan expectations are we want him on the field if we're taking him with a first-round draft pick. One quick one on the way out. In terms of Georgia, Tennessee, not a result, but is it fair to start talking about Josh Heupel in terms of SEC Coach of the Year? I mean, Harson's in his first year, and he's done pretty well, but Heupel's done
he
great.
Already is.
Okay.
No, I think Heupel is. I don't think there's any question. The only question is, like, if Shane Beamer gets South Carolina to a bowl game, maybe they should share it. Both of those situations are like the Tennessee situation that Heupel walked into. Like the fact that he's got them playing the way they are now, and that they're we talked about trajectory with Florida. Tennessee's trajectory is through the roof right now. It's unbelievable. I mean, I realize that they have NCAA sanctions potentially hanging over them, but look at that offense. Who's not going to want to play in that offense? Mm-hmm. It looks fun. It's the complete opposite of what Tennessee was for the last few years. And so, I mean, I think what they've done, what Heupel's done is a miracle this year. And ditto for Beamer, because that roster should not be a win away from bowl eligibility. It just shouldn't. But here it is.
What did you end up doing anything for Halloween? I did not look at your Twitter account over the weekend to see what did you end up doing costume wise.
I was Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, beautiful,
you can,
beautiful.
It is my avatar right now, but there's a video of it that I posted on Halloween.
Excellent. Was that a late ad, or is that one that you had planned for a while? Because I know you were keeping it real close to the vest.
It's one I had done before. No, it was a late ad this year because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want anything that involved a mustache or a beard. The fake facial hair doesn't work for me, and I can't grow one. So I need characters that are about my size that don't have facial hair. So that's why Cousin Eddie was perfect for me.
Yeah.
And Ogre's right in that ballpark too. I had been Ogre for an 80s party years and years ago, so I knew what to do for the costume. I still had the extra large women's cheerleading shorts to wear, so I just had to get the high tube socks and make the Alpha Beta practice jersey.
Beautiful. That was worth asking. Moan's confused because he's never seen Revenge of the Nerds, right, Moan?
I have seen Revenge.
You have seen it?
I've seen all of them. Yeah.
All of them?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Andy, we appreciate it, brother. Thanks so much.
See you guys.
Yeah, that's Andy Staples. We have someone outside.
Yes.
Looking into the situation.
Yes, we
want
do.
to make sure she's all right, too.
Well, and that's the thing is that we alerted one of the fam about
Yep.
the situation,
Yep.
and it is now currently being investigated.
All
Just
right.
make sure that there's not a
It's just you've been sitting for hours alone.
like before any of us got here. She was
Well, let's say this. We have no idea what's going on, what's happening, or anything like that. But the way the person was kind of moving around in the vehicle, it went, you might want to check on that.
Cousin Andrew did make the point. It could be I don't want a DUI, so let me pull over
Yeah.
kind of situation.
And again,
also,
that's pure speculation,
Yeah,
but
we
that's
don't know.
kind of why we alerted.
just want to make sure everything's all right
Somebody-
out there.
Somebody
Yeah.
turned up on Thirsty Thursdays.
I mean, it could have happened.
I was at home sleep.
Yeah, everything's speculative. Hopefully, everything's good. When we come back, we're gonna have a special guest on the program. Looking forward to that conversation. You won't want to miss it. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Imagine if the first way we did things was the only way, just because that's the way we've always done it. Yeah, I know it's a tired out saying. That's what's happening when you're selling your home. You list it and you have to keep it show ready because you never know when someone's going to want to drop in for a quick look. Or you have dozens of people marching through your home that may or may not be serious about buying it anyway. And this goes on and on and on until the right buyer comes along. Well, now that's ended. And it's me, Ramon Foster. I want to tell you what I did. I went to opendoor.com. I put in my address and home info, and I got an offer back in no time. No listings, no strangers, no stress. That's the motto right there. Open Door gives you a real competitive offer in minutes. Just go to opendoor.com/myoffer and get your free offer. Open Door is the new way to sell your home without all the hassles and the hurdles of a traditional home selling. You'll know how much you are getting, and you can decide when you want to close. Go to opendoor.com/myoffer and get your free offer today. Offer eligibility varies, and Open Door is represented by Open Door LLC.
American girls and American guys will always stand up and salute.
Had to get Toby in, didn't we?
Well, how could you not?
I know. Yesterday was Veterans Day. We are still continuing it because there's never a day not to honor those that have served, the best among us. So all the music on Celebrity Playlist Friday today is just in honor of the country and in honor of those who serve.
Also, Titans will be doing a salute to the
Yes.
troops coming up on Sunday as well.
Indeed. So right now, a special guest joining us on the line. He reached out to me and reached out to us over the last few days to talk about this. And this story's kind of blown up, and it's a great, great thing. We bring on Will McNeely. Will, how are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing awesome.
Morning.
So tell us, I'm not even going to ask you too many questions. I want you to tell us what's going on with you, why you're on with us this morning, and something and a little bit about the Veterans Memorial Graduate Business Scholarship.
Absolutely. So I guess it's kind of a wild story, at least from some folks' perspective. And first and foremost, I did this out of my faith in God, and wanted to know what I could do to honor our military, especially as the son of a Marine and two veterans in World War II and countless other military in my family. So when I heard that there's those 13 service members that were unfortunately killed in Afghanistan during the recent evacuation, I was in my car and I heard the news. And the first thing I did, obviously I can't hit the knees while you're driving, but I immediately prayed to God, and I said, please, Lord, just let me find some kind of actionable way to honor their legacy, to do something to impact lives for them. And that was like in August, I believe, late August, and time had gone by, but during that time I prayed and just said, I hope you show me a way. I know you will. And I was on Twitter one day, and I can't remember what I saw, but I did know that and found out that there was one service member that was from the Knoxville area, Staff Sergeant Ryan House, and I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, that he was from that area. So I said, you know what, I heard that Danny White is a man of the people, and I saw how active he is on Twitter and those kinds of things. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to do something, and we'll see what happens. And so I sent out a tweet, and it said something along the lines like, hey, Danny White, how much money do I need to raise to permanently buy a seat in Neyland Stadium to honor that young man? And I put my phone down, and that was kind of the end of that. And somebody on Twitter had connected my account with Marcus Hilliard's account, and I was driving to go pick up my son, and he ended up giving me a call, and I almost wrecked my car because I was like, wow, it's Marcus Hilliard. Like, I knew who he was immediately when I heard his name. And he said, you know what, we saw your tweet. We're very interested in seeing how we can help you achieve what you want to do. And he suggested a scholarship because he said not only would that create a lasting legacy, it would also go to impact more lives. So I said, bingo, that's it. That's exactly what I need to do. So from there, he connected me with Steve Hammer, and I met Steve after the Pittsburgh game with my wife. And I immediately knew that Steve was like the guy to be connected with because I could immediately feel his presence and his passion, and more importantly, his faith. There's something about him that has that aura. And so being two men of faith, I knew that we would get what needs to be done. He then came down to Cartersville, Georgia, where I'm from, or where I currently live. And we went out to lunch. I told him about the purpose, the drive, and the vision for this scholarship, and we prayed about it. And then he had me up to Knoxville for lunch, and he introduced me to Jerry Hanner at the Haslam School of Business. And same thing, like immediately knew he was a man of God, and that way we could really get what needs to be done, which is to create a lasting legacy and impact more lives. And so here we are several months later. Couldn't have thought of a better day to announce it than Veterans Day, to honor our military, and to make sure that we know that there are things that we might not be able to do in terms of not really knowing how to honor their legacy, the military's legacy in protecting our freedoms here at home. So as a person of action, this is why I'm so excited to get this going, to help impact more lives, and make sure that we know that those service members did not fall in vain.
It's an unbelievable story, and Ramon and I, and we actually spoke to an FCA group a few days ago, and we talked about how, look, sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating when you have a clock and you think that God's supposed to be on your clock, but he never is. But he's always on time.
Yes,
he's
sir.
always right on time, and you figure that out. You think he's late, and then you realize, no, I was early. It took me a long time for Abby to step into my life because the Lord needed to make me ready for her, needed to prepare me, needed to have time with me before she came into my life. The timing of this, the timing of what you're doing it just seems like it's something that's supposed to happen. So tell us quickly, what can people do to help you out?
Absolutely. So there's several things that people can obviously do. Number one is get the word out. You can go to my Twitter account. The tweet from yesterday, the announcement is pinned. Like it, retweet it, just help get the word out. Number two is donating. You can go to the GoFundMe and donate to that GoFundMe. And then number three is if there's any organizations that have that kind of the power, the reach like you guys do to help get this word out more, to drive up more donations, then, those are the three main things that I would really ask folks to do. And the reason, somebody asked me this, the reason there is a donation on GoFundMe is because we need $25,000 to qualify for the dollar-for-dollar match with the Haslam School of Business. So when you donate $25, $50, $100, we get to that $25,000, it'll automatically double with the Haslam School of Business. No matter what, 100% of those donations, whatever ends up happening with that GoFundMe, 100% of the donations will go straight to that scholarship fund.
That's awesome.
Or, if you want to make a tax-deductible donation, you can go straight to UT site, go to the Haslam School of Business, just search the name of the scholarship, and you can donate there as well.
Well, it's like I said, we wanted to speak to you about this. I just retweeted it. We're going to retweet it from the account, the GoFundMe, and go there and help ourselves. It's just an awesome deal, and I'm glad that the Lord spoke what you needed to hear at the right time to get this done. And now we want to see just how high that we can take this. So what you're doing is tremendous. It's inspirational. I know what it's going to mean to the people involved, and you deserve a ton of credit for this, and I'm glad that people have seen it. Like, I'm glad that it's taken off over the past few days the way that it has. So we wish you the absolute best with this. Obviously, you know how to get in touch with us, so please do continue to do that, and we'll do all that we can to help you out.
No, I greatly appreciate it, and it's simple gestures like this that really just mean the world and show me how blessed I am and humbled to have folks like y'all to let me come on your radio station and just talk to y'all just a little bit about the scholarship and what I'm doing and what I'm trying to accomplish here, which obviously isn't about me. It's more about honoring the legacy of those service members and going to impact lives for future service members, trying to just better themselves through education.
Will, thanks so much, brother. God bless, truly.
Thank you so much, and y'all have a great day.
You too.
Indeed. That's Will McNeely. So we're way over, and
We'll take care of it.
Doesn't matter. We'll get our clock back because that was way too important. Like I said, we tweeted it out. We'll come back after the headlines with plenty more. Mike Keith joins us in 20 minutes here on 104.5 The Zone.
Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. The Miami Dolphins upset the Baltimore Ravens 22-10 on Thursday Night Football. The Ravens' loss dropped them to 6-3. That gives the Titans a one-game lead, free and clear atop the AFC. Titans will host the Saints on Sunday. League Company countdown to kickoff with Buck Rising at 9 a.m. Mike Keith, Dave McGinnis on the call. That'll be noon on Sunday from Nissan Stadium. Odell Beckham Jr. is signed with the LA Rams. Cam Newton has rejoined the Carolina Panthers. College football, Tennessee hosts top-ranked Georgia tomorrow. Kickoff set for 2:30. Game can be heard right here on The Zone, courtesy of the Vol Network. High school football action tonight. Second round of the playoffs. Riverdale at Lebanon. Lucas Panzica, Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, all on the call. Nashville Predators remain red hot. They defeated the St. Louis Blues in overtime last night, 4-3. Matt Duchene scored 2 goals, including the game winner. Nashville 7-1-1 in their last 9 games. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Welcome in. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Yeah, it's a little later than usual. We kept Will McNeely on to talk about the Veterans Memorial Graduate Business Endowment Scholarship. Good stuff by the university. Good stuff by Will. We've retweeted and done all that we can from that vantage point. The GoFundMe is included. Go help out. What an awesome cause. Scholarship given to an individual seeking graduate studies with the Haslam School of Business, someone with a family tied to the military, either active or veteran, Gold Star family member, or an individual coming from a service academy or military university. Set up to honor the 13 fallen service members in the recent Afghanistan evacuation, all fallen soldiers, veterans, and active service military personnel. Pretty tremendous.
Pretty cool, man. It was necessary to go ahead and get that out, Jay.
No, it absolutely was. Mike Keith will join us in the next segment. We are asking who the second best team in the AFC is. Jimmy Morris, Music City Miracles, chimed in and said the Texans, to which I responded, it's about as right an answer as any other one right now. Let's go to cousin Andrew. What's going on, Andrew?
What's up, Andrew?
Good morning. Good morning. Hey, listen, now I'm going to come on here and I'm going to say something about our Vols tomorrow, Ramon, but just know I've done my homework on this, so this is not me talking out of the side of my mouth.
I breathe in right there.
We all know that 2021 football, college, NFL, doesn't matter. It's been drunk this year. I mean, it's been insane. There's been victories that shouldn't have happened, losses that never should have happened, et cetera. So going into Saturday, let me just set this up for you. Aside from the preseason's rankings in college football, every team that's been in the top 4 has fallen out of the top 4 due to poor performance or a loss, except for one, and that's Georgia. Georgia was not in the preseason top 4 poll, but ever since then they have been. They've stayed there. Okay. The last time, unless I'm wrong here, the last time that Georgia and Tennessee played in this CBS mid-afternoon slot was in 2016, which was the year of the Dobbs nail boot. Also, the last team to give Georgia fits this year was the first game of the year when Clemson was ranked number 3. Georgia won 10-3, but that team gave them fits. Since then, it's been lopsided as all get out. That team, what color are they? They're orange. With that said, I'm not saying there's a chance, but there's a chance tomorrow. I'm not going to call the upset, but everybody's saying there's no chance. I think we can get it done if we play everything perfectly, boys. Y'all have a good weekend.
So, I mean, of course there's a chance because you're playing the game. Football's been drunk, but it hasn't been for Georgia. They're the one team that has not faltered at all. The only thing I'll tell you about Clemson is in that game, they were missing a lot of talent, and they still won that game. And that was when you were wondering what the offense was, and the quarterback situation was up in the air and all of those things. I've said all week, I just want to see them against Tennessee's offense. I want to see that defense just because they haven't played against a team like this when it comes to pace, when it comes to speed, I would even say, with some of these wide receivers and what they can do down the field. So I want to see that, and I want to see what the game looks like in the third quarter. I think if you can get it to halftime and not have the Florida explosion in the last 90 seconds or the last 2 minutes of that first half, you've put yourself in a good position. It's going to be loud. They're wearing the black jerseys. They're wearing the black uniforms, which I don't know if you want that just because if it doesn't go well, then you've got the black uniform thing where you remember it for the wrong things. But you've got the CBS audience. It should be a good atmosphere. I'm very intrigued to see the game.
I'm sort of siding with Andrew.
You think they're going to win?
I've been cautiously just walking this one.
No, you're a Vol, so
no. I've been said Georgia should win this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's on paper that they should. They should dominate it. But if you ask me if I'm willing to take a L on one, I take a L on Monday by saying, okay, Georgia's just that good. But I see us winning this game.
You're actually predicting
that
Tennessee's going to win the game.
This game. I'm saying it low, but I'm saying it with confidence. I see us winning this game.
Well, you don't say it low when you say it into a microphone.
I said it into a microphone. I'm taking the Vols on this one. I just am.
Okay. Because of what? You can't just say you're taking them and then have no reason for it.
Georgia's defense is good, but I don't know if the pace can actually keep up. And I don't know if Georgia's offense can do what ours can in a response because our defense is somewhat still good with the Vols too. It's been low. It's only, I think they said like 14 players playing on defense in general, but they've been hot. They've been real good compared to what you expect them to be. And not only that, they've been good against good opponents too.
Are you talking about the offense?
No, I'm talking about the defense.
I mean, they gave up 600 yards to Kentucky.
To Kentucky, yeah, but they couldn't get off. I'm saying this. I think their corrections they need to have made by getting off on third down could be corrected this week. I don't see them giving that much up again. And if they do, that means the Tennessee offense is scoring just the same. If it's a shootout, I'm picking Tennessee's offense. I think they got experience up front to where they can handle enough of that D-line. Jordan Davis is a monster. Should probably be the number 1 overall pick, if at the latest top 3. I see him hanging with Georgia and possibly beating them. If it's close, UT wins.
So wait a second. So are you predicting them to win?
I'm
or are you
predicting
saying...
them to win. I'm predicting them to win. And if it's a close game going into the fourth, I see UT winning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, because the way you were saying it is like you were kind of hedging back and saying, I think they can keep it close. I think if it's close, they'll win it. But I'm just wanting you to be on record.
I'm being on record by saying if it's a close game, UT wins. Because
no,
I don't know
if
if Georgia offense can actually score the way we score.
I got that. So you're assuming it's going to be a close game. I'm just saying, are you picking Tennessee to win?
Yes, 100% I'm picking Tennessee to win.
Okay. Got it.
Me, Andrew, in the boat.
I don't know that he picked him.
He did pick him.
I think he said there's a chance.
He'll come in the chat. Andrew, did you pick them to win?
Okay. Maybe now that you have, he will. Maybe people will get on the bandwagon there.
I got that type of influence.
615-737-1045 is the telephone number. I see a couple calls. We got Mike Keith on the other side as well, so we'll talk a little Titans Saints with him. If you're on hold, we will get to your call, so stay there. It is JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Welcome back in. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone here on this Friday. Hanging out on Zone TV. If you're there, we appreciate it. YouTube, Twitch. Everybody having a good time. As always, we're on Twitter at JMart and Ramon. Titans Saints Sunday. Salute to the veterans as well. We're keeping that up with all the music except this one because, well, the Don gets what he wants. I remember, what was it, like 6-7 months ago? No, it was longer than that when he told you if you change the Sopranos music, he's never coming on the show again.
That is correct.
That is the man that's on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline with us right now, voice of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Keith. What's going on, Mike?
Well, I'm at Nissan Stadium now, and we are honoring our Titans employees who are veterans this morning.
Nice.
Yesterday, we had a chance to do our season ticket members who were veterans or active duty military, and had them in for a luncheon, and today we're honoring our employees. So kind of a special time for our organization. You know, we with our relationship with the 101st and the different things that we've been involved in the last 20-plus years, probably pretty obvious we take salute to service very seriously. And that, of course, came from our founder, Bud Adams, who was in the Navy in the Pacific Theater during World War II. So he was always somebody who said, yes, we will be doing that. And we have followed the lead and kept it up even as he is no longer with us.
Mike, Ahmad Hall, the fullback, he's part of this situation as well, right? What you guys are doing?
I think he is the 12th Titan this week.
Yeah, awesome.
Oh,
Sarge. Yeah, Sarge will be back. One of my favorite guys. You know, came in as an older player because he had been in the military, and ended up playing some really good fullback for us, doing an outstanding job, and was a veteran presence even when he was a rookie because of what he had seen and what he had done earlier in life. He didn't like to talk about it. You know, that was the part of Ahmad Hall, is he did not like to discuss it. But occasionally he would share some of his experience, and, you know, he would admit if something went wrong on the football field, it was not the end of the world. He could handle pressure. He could handle every situation that came up. He certainly had plenty of toughness, and it was a real pleasure to be around him all the time, both on and off the field.
So you mentioned things going right on the field. Nothing's going wrong on the field right now for the Titans in terms of the wins that they've had. We saw again yesterday. We saw it all day Sunday, and then we saw it last night. Teams that you start to believe in the AFC especially, like, they all find ways to lose. Everybody has lost during this stretch except the one that you voice, Mike. How are the Titans doing what they're doing?
I think there's a consistency week to week in terms of what the preparation is, realizing that you're not in a stretch of games, that you're in a week to week situation. And I think the head coach and the coaching staff has these players focused in on that they understand that every week's a different challenge. It's going to take a different effort. It's not like they can roll the ball out and just run it all the time, or just throw it all the time, or just do certain things on defense all the time. It's constantly changing. And I think in the ways that it's constantly changing, Vrabel can get their attention to what those tasks are. Now, you're in a weird point in the year because it's like, so you see the Miami Dolphins rise up and beat Baltimore last night. Well, you know, maybe the Dolphins are getting a little better, and we start to see that this time of year. Maybe they're getting a little healthier on defense. Maybe things are clicking in. If you play poorly in the NFL, you lose. That's what happens, particularly when you get into November and December. If you play poorly, you lose. To this point, the Titans have been able to maintain a consistency within their overall performance that has allowed them to, A, overcome mistakes or things that come up, but B, to be able to just sort of take each week's challenge and focus in on that. Well, I mean, we were told, you know, in preparing for the broadcast last week very clearly, if we can't get pressure up the middle, we can't win this football game. And certainly we saw it on the first drive Sunday night that the Titans were able to get pressure They made it their game. This week's challenge will be a lot the same thing.
Mike, we just crossed the halfway part of this NFL season, the 17th game included. And right now, if you had to look back on last year's defense at this time compared to this year's defense, how much more success are they having? How surprised are you, honestly, a little bit to see a quick turnaround like this? And just speak on the difference between this year and last year.
I think overall they're better players.
Yeah.
I think that's what jumps out to me. I said it in the preseason to Ramon. They're faster.
Mm-hmm.
They clearly have more speed. You know, a guy like Danico Autry, you don't think of a defensive lineman as fast, but he's faster. He's given them some speed. They certainly get speed from Harold Landry, which they had when Bud Dupree is able to go. He gives them an element of speed. Amani Hooker at the safety position gives them speed. Christian Fulton, when he's able to go, gives them more speed. That defense was slow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what became obvious as we got really – when Jayon Brown went out and the defense really took a turn the wrong way in terms of the statistics, you're just like, yeah, they're just not quite good enough. I still don't think the defense has reached its potential. I still believe this defense, if they can get Fulton back and they can get Dupree going even a little bit more, I think they have the opportunity to take more steps forward and be able to help the offense. I'm not surprised because I think the players are better. And I think that was what the focus was of this past offseason, was improving the speed and the talent on defense. And I think it's very obvious John Robinson did that.
Yeah, and on the offensive side of things, too, is the run game what you expected it this last week, you know, readjusting to Derrick Henry not being in there. We saw three different backs, I feel like, run the ball. Like, is that kind of what you expected the first week of this adjustment?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, that was exactly – there was no way to deny that the loss of Derrick Henry was going to change the Titans stylistically in terms of what they look like. I mean, the comfort in being able to turn and hand the ball to 22, and you know this, the comfort for the offensive lineman knowing what he needs and his comfort and play calling comfort for Todd Downing, all of that goes out the window to a certain extent when you lose him. Doesn't mean you don't have a good team. It just means it's going to take some time. Because let's face it, it took time for Derrick to become Derrick. So now I think in week 2, they go back and they look at things. They say, okay, all right, you know, we can do this. And Adrian Peterson's got his legs under him a little bit. He's probably not going to have to ask Ryan Tannehill as many questions. And Deontay Foreman is, you know, he's got his legs back a little bit too. And Jeremy McNichols going to continue to do Jeremy McNichols things. And I think they'll take a step. But yeah, I mean, it was 100% what I thought it would be based on the challenge of the change that was put in front of them.
Yeah. You talked about Derrick, and we talked about some of the injuries. Julio Jones goes back to the injury report yesterday with the hamstring. Teron Davenport put out a video where he looked like he didn't love one of the reps and then didn't do anything after that rep and the practice in the bubble yesterday. I'm seeing a lot of calls from people that are just like, can we just put the guy on IR until after the bye week and give him actual time to get back instead of him continually being sort of off one day, on another, never knowing how healthy he really is. What's the situation right now with Julio and just how comfortable Titans fans should feel that he's going to be out there?
Well, I think he's fighting it, and I think he's had to fight it, you know, through the course of the year. And, you know, he played well the other night. Golly, all 4 of his catches were important. I mean, statistically, you don't look at a Julio Jones line of 4 catches for 35 yards and say, ooh, you know, that's what's going to send him to the Hall of Fame. But, man, were they big. And did they come at important times? And you began to see where he's going to have more of a role in this offense. I think the thing about Julio that blows me away is just how hard he works, the fact that he does want to practice, the fact that, you know, he'll block, he'll do whatever. He was excited after the game to win, and I think he felt like he had made a step, and hopefully this is not a step back for him, you know, because I think I see in practice and I see through his work why he's been as great as he's been.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him make a one-hand catch just throwing the ball back and forth the other day. That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It's like, how does a human being do that? I still have a great belief that for whatever is his situation physically right now, he is going to continue to help this football team. And, if it's this week, I don't know. If it's next week, I don't know. Whatever the doctors and Todd Torricelli say, he'll listen to it. But, don't get frustrated with that situation more than you should, because this guy has still got things about his game that make him very different and add something to this football team that they haven't had in years past. So, the big thing for Julio Jones is December and January, and it always has been for me.
Mm-hmm.
It always has been, is have him ready, have him good to go. And there's several guys you could say that about. Mm-hmm. Let's see what they look like in December and January. I want to see Bud Dupree in December and January. I think, Taylor Lewan, guys like that. I think that's what's really important about this ball club, winning all these games in October.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked you about Julio, who's going to Canton. And then there's another guy that just wants to be on the field, it sounds like. And this week, for the first time, I forgot they drafted Des Fitzpatrick. That's how little I've heard about him since, going to the practice squad and all of that. But then this week, Vrabel sings his praises. Byard sings his praises. Amani Hooker sings his praises. Like, you are seeing a lot of people saying kind things about his work ethic, how hard he's working, how much he's progressing. Have you been able to see any of that for yourself? And is this conversation that you had heard for weeks that now we're starting to hear kind of publicly?
Yes. So he's been on Show Team a lot, and sometimes guys on Show Team will wear the numbers in practice of the players they're showing for the opposing team. So he hasn't been wearing 10 in practice every day. And there's always that one guy who's sort of working over the first team defense. He's making plays, and you don't necessarily recognize who it is because he's not wearing his actual number. Mm-hmm. And week after week, that guy has been Des Fitzpatrick. Des Fitzpatrick has continued to show up. And in asking the questions of different people that I talk to throughout the team, they are so pleased with his work and so pleased with his commitment. And I talked to a lot of people in preseason when he was having difficulties, and I was asking questions about, does he love ball? Does he, what? And everybody said, absolutely he does. He's a great kid. He's a hard worker. Mm-hmm. And it was just a strange jump for him from the system that he ran in college to a pro system. He did not know a lot of things about how you play receiver in the pros based on what he had been asked to do in college. That's not a knock on Louisville. That's just the difference in today's college game and the difference in the pro game. It happens a lot. A lot of guys get lost and never make it back. I think he's definitely going to make it back. I don't think there's any question that it's going to happen for Des Fitzpatrick at some point. And it really says a lot about him. And it's an exciting story for Titans fans because I believe Des Fitzpatrick has a future.
Mike, if we look at secondary MVPs for this defense, I think, Harold, the year he's having, Tier and Jeff definitely having really good years. But this linebacker group and what they've done, and also the rookie, Elijah Molden, you got to you're pleasantly surprised by the play that they've put on display so far for this defense.
Mm-hmm. And it's been sort of everybody. David Long has done really, really well, and Jayon has come back and played well, and Rashaan Evans has certainly had moments. Monty Rice, got a start in Indianapolis and played well. Says a lot about Jim Haslett, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, he was at one time the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, so he's been around the block himself, and I think it says a lot about the way he's been able to develop and consistently prepare these players and the talent that they have in that group. I mean, they have certainly been able to make things happen throughout the course of the year, no matter who the pairing has been.
Yeah.
Mike, one thing we can give you a talking point. We haven't even really talked about the Saints, and it's interesting just because they look depleted on paper, and that scares you just a little bit because this league has a tendency to humble you when you start to feel overconfident about what's happening. We had Jeff on Tuesday, and he admitted to us that he and Danico have $1,000 bet every week to determine which one of the former Mississippi State interior defensive linemen handle business more effectively. So they have a bet going on. So there's a talking point if those two guys start balling out the way they did against the Rams, because early it was Danico, and then Big Jeff what it felt like was like, all right, that was nice. Now watch this, and then went and got 3 sacks.
He played great, and Danico played great. And Danico's really been playing well. The versatility of Danico has given the Titans' defensive line something quite different. And Tier does what he does, which is very exciting to see. He's a developing player. And, Naquan Jones has played well. Murchison's played well. Jeff is Jeff. But Danico is a difference maker because not only his athleticism and his speed, but his versatility in the defensive line. Listen, they understand what this challenge is. The Saints have a good team. It's a real good football team. They've lost weapons on offense, and yet they're still making things happen because they're so well coached. Sean Payton, Pete Carmichael, that whole staff, that's a really good offensive staff, and they'll have a bunch of creative things ready for the Titans. Defensively, they are rock hard. And most people don't realize that they were the number 4 defense in the NFL last year. And here they are, right back again as a top 10 unit. Great against the run, number 1 in the NFL against the run, 13 takeaways, really able to get after the quarterback. I mean, this is a really, really good football team the Titans are going to play on Sunday.
Mike, is it true that fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son?
It is true. 0.0.
We'll be listening. It's fun to watch this team and cover this team right now. No question about it.
It is. It sure is. And it's fun to be around the fans. And, yesterday with the season ticket members, and we talked a little playoffs, and we're saying make sure you've opted in on your playoff tickets if you're a season ticket member. And you can talk about that very logically right now because the Titans are right in the middle of the discussion. And that is absolutely a lot of fun. You are correct.
We appreciate you, Mike. Thanks so much.
See you guys.
Indeed.
Was it him or you at home?
Oh,
wow. Violence.
See, you guys sounded like the sign off.
You need to apologize to the VOT.
He's still on the line. I apologize, VOT. He was still trying to say.
No, bring him back.
No,
Bring him back up.
I'm not bringing him back
Bring him back up. You know what? I can. Here we go.
Mike, are you still there?
What did you say?
Well, you said, see you guys, and then
he hung up on
I put you on hold, and I'm always accused of sniping people on this show, and sniping the VOT means that I'm in trouble with the program.
Yeah, that would.
So what I'll be sleeping with the fishies tomorrow, but what were you going to say as your sign-off there?
Look at
Rhett. Have a good weekend.
See, I knew that's what he was saying. Rhett's now just staring a hole through me. He literally stood up and walked to the window of the Titans radio studio, motionless, just staring at me.
I can't protect you now.
I apologize.
No, you can't. Yeah.
Mike, do you have anything else to say?
We'll have a discussion later about this.
That's Mike Keith, the one and only. Hey, man, it's tough out here in these streets. I don't care if you're a Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer or not. You take a weird pause,
you getting hung up.
You might.
I picked up Mike after you put him back on hold. He said, "Can I really go now?"
Well, you could have gone the first time.
I know I'm not walking out of this building with you.
So we had a couple of callers that wanted to talk about the Vols. I know Cousin Danny's on the line. When we come back, we'll take those calls, and we'll do a couple of birthdays as well. So if you were on hold and bailed there to listen to Mike, you can call back 615-737-1045. I apologize, and may God have mercy on my soul. It's JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Hey, it's JMart. First-time home buyer? I know there's a lot that you're thinking about. There's a lot that you have to worry about. Just filling out the application for your first home loan can seem like a daunting task. You have to have people you trust, people that you know are going to take you where you need to go on your side, and you don't have to worry. I know who it is. I've been telling you about them since day one on this program. It's my pals at Mortgage Investors Group. They're here for you every single step of the way. So if it's new to you, I promise it's not new to them. Be ahead of all the other buyers by getting pre-qualified before you start looking. Pre-qualification gives you the bargaining power that you got to have, and it helps you close quicker. If you get pre-qualified, you'll get moving. Mortgage Investors Group, committed to helping Tennesseans fulfill their dreams of home ownership. Their mortgage experts are ready for you today, this morning, to help find and structure the mortgage that best fits your needs, best achieves your goals. If it's a new home, they've got you. If you want to lower your current home loan payment, they've got you. Mortgage Investors Group wants to be your home loan lender, and I want you to let them go to work for you. The website to get all the information you need is migonline.com. migonline.com. Offices, there's one close by, I promise. Hendersonville, Brentwood, Cool Springs. Go to migonline.com. You can see for yourself, or text MIG to 31399. That's MIG to 31399 to get pre-qualified and get moving with Mortgage Investors Group. Equal housing lender, license number 109111.
He's got a corner lot on Dogwood Drive.
Welcome back, JMart and Ramon, 104.5. So yesterday was Veterans Day, but we support them every single day, and that's what we're doing with the music today. I'm gonna request something of you to open the fourth hour, Shafe. This is a decision I just made, but try to find some collection plate-ish kind of music that you can play underneath me reading something. It's going to take a couple of minutes to read through the entire piece. I think the audience will want to hear it, and I know Ramon Foster wants to hear it.
All right.
Do it.
So I've got it pulled up. I found it here in the last 10 minutes. Cousin Danny in the borough. What's going on, Danny?
Hey, fam. Good to talk to you again.
Same.
So I wanted to talk Vols for a second, man.
Sure.
First of all, Ramon, put some bass in your voice when you say they're going to win. Quit with that saying it's soft nonsense. They're going to win.
Oh.
All right? They're going to win this game. Vols by 10.
Yes, sir.
That
Mr.
being
Gardaki.
said, I'll give you the reasons why I'm feeling it. It's been a tumultuous week in Athens for the Georgia Bull craps.
Okay.
Anyway, so we know that their middle linebacker leads the team in sacks. I believe has the third or fourth highest snap count on their defense. Is currently under arrest for an alleged felony rape. And their leading receiver is potentially out for the rest of the season with an ankle sprain. So they've got some problems that they're working on. Tennessee's healthy. Tennessee's hot coming off that Kentucky win. And we're going to be in Neyland, dressed in black. And because of Josh Heupel being a straight savage, every daggone Vol going to be drinking at 9 a.m. You're going to be drunk.
Come on, Dad.
And hey, I'm going to pull one for you real quick. Much love and respect to the cheese man. Go Vols. Gas pedal, baby. Gas pedal. Tighten up. Gas pedal.
Whoa, that actually was because it was. I was like, wow, that sounds a lot. Oh, it is him.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought too, man.
All right.
I'm with you, Dan. I'll say it again at the next on the next hour. I'll say it with some more bass.
All right. Anne Hathaway, 39, Moan.
And Devil Wears Prada. Come on, man.
Yep.
Don't play me like
Correct.
that.
That's
Ocean's
one of my
8
that's
also.
I've told you before. That's my
Yeah.
that's the man card movie.
Yeah.
Devil Wears Prada.
CG, put your mom on the phone.
Yeah. Oh Lord, not. I'm never coming home.
Never coming home.
Ryan Gosling, 41.
Hey, Notebook.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in a Notebook.
That's not what I know him for.
What
but,
you know him from?
I mean, a bunch of other stuff.
That's cool.
La
That's
La
cool.
Land.
La La Land, yeah.
Big Short was my favorite movie of the last decade.
Big Short was crazy. Yeah. La La Land.
Blue Valentine. He's done a lot.
Okay.
Half Nelson.
He's the romantic movie guy for the most part.
No.
Yeah?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I just want to stop.
He also looks a lot like Jared Goff.
He does look like Jared Goff.
But he's having a better life right now, I think, than Jared Goff is.
Jared Goff.
I don't think Ryan Gosling's ever woken up 0-8.
No, he hasn't.
Megan Mullally, 63.
Megan Mullally?
I didn't realize she was that old.
Devil Wears Prada again?
No.
No? Megan Mullally. Let's go Black Hawk Down.
No, Will and Grace, Parks and Recreation.
Who was she in Parks and Rec?
She was Ron Swanson's wife, Tammy, too.
Oh, that's Tammy?
She's actually married to him in real life. She's married to Nick Offerman in real life.
She's 60-something?
Yeah, I didn't realize she was that old.
No, she actually aged pretty well.
She was cute in Will and Grace. Like, she was...
She's... No way she's
I didn't really
60.
watch the show, but I would see, like, the commercials, and it was just like, hey, Megan Mullally's all right.
You saw what mattered.
Yeah. And she's very funny. She's wild. Her and Nick Offerman.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, and they're married. Neil Young is 76, Mo. Not a chance.
Not a chance.
As
I know
Schaefer
he's a
sometimes
musician.
says.
Ramon got it right.
Yeah, you
Musician,
got it right.
Canadian also.
He got that right.
What's on his monitor?
He's not cheating.
The
Turn it
chat.
around, Moan. He's got.
You know
the
anything
YouTube
he's
on.
ever? Do you know any of his music?
Off top, probably Toast.
What?
Excuse me?
Toast? What are you talking about? A song called Toast?
Album?
No.
Yep.
No.
Russell Westbrook, 33. Corey Maggette, 42. Just throwing a few on the way out here.
Bet
Naheem Hines is 25.
You're a fool.
Bet it.
You're a fool.
Bet it, Shay.
Bet what?
He has an album called Toast.
He doesn't, because I know his catalog. He doesn't.
Harvest Moon.
Yeah. He has that.
Harvest.
Yeah.
Mirror ball.
Are you now stalling to have people put stuff in the chat for you to use? Is that what you're doing now?
Oh, somebody's cheating again, aren't they?
No, I'm not. Legitimately, the chat is up right now. There's nothing going on.
Kayla Maroney face.
What's on your text messages, man?
I got nothing.
On to Cincinnati.
That was too quick.
After the headlines, I'm gonna read.
So I win?
It's a booty gate and
I'm gonna read
birthday gate.
an article, and like I said, find some kind of church music.
All right, so is it uplifting?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well then we're good. I got it already.
After the headlines, you will want to hear
I
this.
make sure.
You will want to hear this, especially if you support that team in Knoxville. We'll be back. JMart and Ramon, 4th hour. Final hour of the week is next here on The Zone.
Yes!
It's JMart. I want to talk to you about my pal Michael Ramsey and his staff over at PAI Medical and what they're doing for thousands of men as well as women when it comes to hair loss. Hair loss is just the kind of thing that can just wreck your day, can wreck your confidence because it's just something else you got to worry about. You know the old story about Steve Jobs always wore the same black shirt, the same jeans, the same white tennis shoes, and it was because he knew he had to make so many decisions during his day. He just wanted to take one off the table. Same reason Nick Saban always eats oatmeal cream pies every morning. So if you can just take a couple of things off your plate, things you don't have to be anxious about, things you don't have to be worried about, that can be absolutely priceless. And for a lot of guys, it is hair loss. Look, my crown was thinning, so I went to PAI Medical. It was one of the best decisions I've made. I'm already starting to see a little bit of the results. We're still a couple months away before it really starts to make a difference. They've got surgical and they've got non-surgical procedures. Some of the biggest advancements that are out there, PAI can help you with. They've got PRP, nutrient-rich plasma, that gets reintroduced into your scalp. It's from your own blood. Also, laser therapy. Go in a couple of times a month for a half hour or so. Regenerate some sleeping hair follicles in your balding spots. It just adds a little bit more to your life, to your quality of life. If it's something that's ever concerned you and you thought, I can't afford it, I promise you can. With PAI, they've got affordable payment plans to fit anyone's budget. Nobody does it better than they do. They've been in Nashville for over 25 years. All they do is hair. No side businesses, nothing else they're trying to do. Nobody's better at it. I want you to call 615-376-6010. It's what I did. 615-376-6010. Talk to Michael Ramsey. Talk to the expert staff. Let them show you what they can do for you. And make sure you tell them JMart sent you. You can also visit them online. WeGrowHair.com. That's WeGrowHair.com.
It is 9:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. Upset last night, Thursday Night Football. The Miami Dolphins defeated the Baltimore Ravens 22-10. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, not a good night for him by his standards. 238 yards passing, just 39 yards rushing, scored just one touchdown. Ravens turned the ball over twice. The Dolphins were able to take a fumble back for a touchdown, their lone touchdown of the game. The Ravens' loss dropped them to 6-3, which gives the Titans a one-game lead atop the AFC. Of course, the Titans will be hosting the Saints on Sunday. Mike Keith, Dave McGinnis on the call starting at noon. Odell Beckham Jr. signed with the LA Rams. Cam Newton has rejoined the Carolina Panthers. College football coming up tomorrow. Ramon's picking the Vols. They'll be hosting top-ranked Georgia. Kickoff set for 2:30. You can hear the game in its entirety, of course, courtesy of the Vol Network right here on The Zone. High school football action here tonight on The Zone. Riverdale is at Lebanon, second week of the high school football playoffs. Lucas Panzica, Ramon Foster, Will Bowling will be on the call. Nashville Predators, they remain red hot. Preds defeated the St. Louis Blues in overtime 4-3. Matt Duchene scored 2 goals, including the game winner. Nashville 7-1-1 in their last 9 games. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Fourth hour, hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio is upon you. It's upon us. We're blessed to bring it to you courtesy of All Four Seasons Garages.com/Nashville. All Four Seasons Garage Doors.
Yeah.
Mike Sando of The Athletic will join us in the next segment. They went back to do the quarterback tiers again, re-talk to people, see what's changed from the start of the season. We'll ask him about Tannehill. Tannehill really wasn't discussed as changing all that much. But we'll just talk to him about a wild NFL season thus far.
Yeah.
But I told you I wanted some past the collection plate kind of music.
Come on now.
Because I think Ramon's just going to start like dancing or nodding his head. I wouldn't doubt Ron's going to want this replayed later on today on 3HL.
Come on now.
So I'm going to read this from our pal Bill Connolly at ESPN. I'm going to read this whole thing. It's a little bit lengthy, but I think it's worth it, and every Tennessee fan probably want to hear it. It's entitled, How Do You Beat Georgia? Number 1, Georgia at Tennessee. Great teams lose. The 2018 Alabama team was about to be remembered as Nick Saban's best, but lost by 28 points in the national title game. The 2015 Ohio State team was deeper and more experienced than the 2014 title team, but lost to Michigan State. The 2008 USC team might have been Pete Carroll's best, but lost to Oregon State on a glorious Thursday night in Corvallis. There are general upset scripts that unfold frequently in this sport, typically involving turnovers, special teams, and so on. They certainly apply to any Georgia game moving forward. But the Dogs have exhibited at least a hint of a few vulnerabilities that, when added together, could cause problems. Here's how a Georgia-specific upset script could unfold. Step 1, the Dogs settle for field goals. Ask Michigan what it's like to lose because you couldn't finish your drives. In their October 30th loss to Michigan State, the Wolverines settled for 4 field goals while the Spartans scored touchdowns on all 5 chances it had in the Michigan red zone. Michigan scored more points, but Michigan State scored more points. The Wolverines ranked 90th in red zone touchdown rate. Georgia ranks 86th. The Dogs could have fallen into a dangerous situation against Florida after managing just 3 points from their first 3 scoring chances. Turnovers turned the game into a laugher, but they were up only 3-0 nearly halfway through the game. The Dogs also scored only 3 offensive points on Clemson in the season opener. Step 2, the opponent strikes deep. As incredible as the Dogs' defense has been, first in the nation in scoring defense, yards allowed per play, success rate allowed, they're merely good against the deep ball. On passes thrown at least 15 yards downfield, they rank 29th in success rate allowed. Opponents are 16 for 43 on such passes for 466 yards. You have to survive a ferocious pass rush. Georgia 16th in sack rate despite never blitzing. But if the opponent attempts some haymakers, 1 or 2 might land. Step 3, Stetson Bennett runs into trouble on passing downs. For the second straight season, Bennett has ended up taking a lot more snaps than planned, this time due to Daniels' nagging injuries, and he has not only survived but thrived. Among players with at least 100 dropbacks, he ranks second in total QBR behind only Oklahoma's Caleb Williams. But he struggles under pressure. Bennett under pressure, 10 for 26 for 219, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Under no pressure, 70 for 94, 1193, 12 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. And then he goes a little further. On passes of 15-plus air yards, Hendon Hooker ranks 5th in the nation, averaging 18.6 yards per attempt over the last 4 games. He's 12 for 21 on such passes for 485 touches and no interceptions. The Josh Heupel offense loves the long ball, and Hooker has had enough time to look for it. The Vols defense also pretty good at not only forcing third downs, but forcing third and longs. Granted, the pass rush has been hit or miss, and opponents are converting third and longs, but at the least, Bennett might find himself behind schedule a bit more than he's used to. Tennessee might not have enough to scare the Dogs for 60 minutes, but the Vols are good enough to force them to answer some questions. On line 1, a surprise guest. Who do we have?
Man, all I'm saying is I don't care nothing about, nothing about them little short, little stubby animals that got to roll all the way up the rocket top. You hear me? That little dog spike collar don't scare nobody. Man, Smokey done been through it all, man. You done seen the little rebels with the little hats and the little muskets. Man, he done seen the little tired dude with the little long nose and done been down there under the lights. He done been down there in the swamp. He done seen the little gators, how they'll tuck their tail and they'll go and they'll just fall apart. Dan Mullen firing people. We started that. I know we didn't win, but we started it. And now I'm telling you about these little short, stubby leg animals that's coming up there from Georgia. We got something for you. You never tasted no mouth water like this what we got flowing from the streams of Rocky Top. It's going to get Ugly a little sick. We got a trick for you, Ugly. You taste the water, and it tastes good. And before you look up, you're down 14. And then what you going to do, Stetson Bennett? Huh? What you going to do then? Because Herschel Walker ain't walking through that door. Herschel Walker ain't walking. Now, you got Zeus. But this ain't got nothing to do with no Greek gods either, baby. This the hype train. This the hype train. And we coming through. You hear that? That's the train. That's the train. That's the train, baby. So go take it. Do you hear what I'm trying to tell you? Do you hear what I'm trying to... Hey, listen here. Can't say it no more clear. I just told y'all earlier. I'm here to echo it. Because my boy ain't standing on that limb. Move over, Savage. I'm on the limb, too. Like the Stogies. Pull the straight. It's a party on the Rocky Top. And Georgia might be late. I don't know.
A chugga, 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 chew, chew.
So all of that.
Violence.
So all of that and what I read to suggest that what Georgia has shown some flaws in doing, Tennessee actually is equipped to exploit, especially the deep ball. And the Georgia has been a little bit shaky against that, where Levis wasn't going to be protective of the football in the Kentucky situation. Hendon Hooker's been the opposite of that, generally speaking. Does that mean there's going to be an upset? No. Doesn't mean Ramon Foster picked it, and I was trying to find as much evidence as I could to help him buttress his case.
And somebody else stood on the same things that I had to say. And that surprise caller, whoever that was.
We know who that was.
Whoever the surprise caller was, he's all in on the Vols. He hit us with the major painter. Chugga, 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 chugga.
There is nothing more objective than the Tennessee Tailgate Show.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
When I look up objective in the dictionary, there's a picture of Ron Slay and Will Bowling hosting the Tennessee Tailgate Show.
What are you talking about?
Show.
Come on now.
Come on. Come on. Come on, Shane.
I still thought that and ride it for my whole life. I thought it was erotic.
Hop on, Shay. I got a ticket for you, man. Let me go in my backpack.
I'm not paying your ticket.
No, I got you on this train. It's going to be fun. Oh, I wasn't expecting you to play that shape. They got me hyped, man. Whoo.
Oh, boy.
Go Vols. Whoever the last caller was, Shay.
I never want to see y'all have something nice because I don't know that I can take it.
Save his number.
After what you did to Mike Keith earlier, you might not make it home alive.
And he's a Vol.
That's a Vol. Yep. That's a Vol. That's a VFL.
I'm just lucky David Chase came out and said that Tony Soprano was killed at the end of it.
We got listeners saying you had them dancing in their cars in the office.
You said that, and then you took a drink like it was Kermit with the Nestea right there.
Get it over with.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
Oh,
I hate
man.
you.
Hey.
We need to go get Ice-T earlier in there saying, "Hey man, real hating is an art form, man."
Yeah,
that's what we turn it into on this thing.
Heck yeah.
Mr. Roboto.
Oh.
Mike Sando of The Athletic will join us on the other side. Always a good NFL conversation to be had with him. He's next. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
We're nearing the end of 2021, and it has been a year. I'm sure most of you have experienced and struggled with the supply chains issues due to COVID. I know I have in many ways. These days, it's just not easy to get the things you want. But my friends at Two Rivers Ford, hear me out, have some great news for you. New inventory is coming in every single day. So if you're in the market for a new Ford, make sure to check out tworiversford.com daily and see what's arrived on a lot. If you want someone at Two Rivers Ford to contact you when the vehicle you're looking for comes in, just give them a shout and they'll make sure you are alerted when it does. The salespeople at Two Rivers Ford don't work on commission, so you never have to worry about them pressuring you. They're there to help make things easier and clear for you, as clear as they can. Also, if you know exactly what vehicle you want and you want to order it, Two Rivers Ford can do that for you also. They now have a Built For You program where you can order any model, any color, with any available features. You can order that Ford today and get it delivered right to your door when it's manufactured. There's a reason my friends at Two Rivers Ford have been doing business for almost 40 years. That's because they make the customer experience hassle-free, honest, and easy. So for all things Ford, reach out to the most trusted Ford dealership in Tennessee, my friends at Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford, powered by Ford, driven by people.
My dear son, it's almost June.
Welcome back to JMart, Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Getting patriotic with it today. Yesterday was Veterans Day. We had on Will McNeely earlier. Go donate if you can.
Ahmad Hall will be the 12th Titan on Sunday.
And that's fantastic. Veterans Memorial Graduate Business Endowment created by Will McNeely and some fine folks there. The Haslam School of Business going to be matching funds there. Just an awesome way to honor servicemen and create something lasting that's going to mean so much to them. NFL means a lot to everybody. And right here, the Titans right now, as hot as anybody in the league, maybe the hottest team in the NFL, with everybody else in the AFC finding a way to falter. We go to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Our pal Mike Sando of the Athletics on the line. Mike, how are you this morning?
Not as good as the Titans.
That's a good line. We'll probably cut that and use it in some kind of promo piece at some point. So
they are the team that defies everybody.
Yeah. So explain it then.
Really cool.
You said defies everybody. So now we ask you, go ahead and try to explain it.
Well, I think so I have a pretty cool little statistical engine for offense, defense, special teams. I think they're no lower than 11th in any phase. Did you think that was going to be true?
No, I did not.
No.
So I want to ask you, what are we missing? I mean, this is just a tough group. I mean, do we just credit Mike Vrabel and say that he's a tough guy and that's why they're that way? I mean, you have to give them something.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're just every year better than 75% of the people think they're going to be. And so you have to credit everybody. But to me, defensively, I didn't think they'd be this good. And
I don't know.
Then you watch the first game.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody expected that they would be this good defensively.
It's just awesome.
Yeah, it's
the Ram game's just one of those great games. Just one of those. I mean, how do you not just harness that? I mean, they must just completely believe the players.
Yeah,
just completely believe in everything they're doing. It's really cool.
So looking back on that Rams game, going into it, like you had to have thought Rams best team, quarterback, defense, just got Vaughn, and then poof, nothing.
Yeah. I mean, so I do pick. I pick a few games every week. I did pick the Titans. The 7.5-point spread was ridiculous. I mean, I think that. I mean, I think the Rams are good, but I don't think they're infallible. I mean, they've lost to some good teams. They lost to the Cardinals by double digits, so they lost a couple games in there. And I think Tennessee's a good team, so I wasn't surprised that they were going to cover the spread. A little surprised they would win the game and just dominate that way. So, I think the Rams are a team that has fallen in love with the drop back pass and the glitz of that, right? And the Titans are a team that has just fallen in love with being a tough team. They're like the opposite of a drop back pass, flashy. 5 minutes can't go by without Sean McVay talking about how great, Matthew Stafford is and how we can do so many more things in the pass game. And look, they're getting Odell Beckham, right? I mean, you couldn't almost be more LA and flashy. And I think the Titans just couldn't be any more Tennessee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like the identities of teams is a really interesting thing. And they did it. We all thought that, they had to have Derrick Henry for that identity. And maybe they do for the rest of the year, but it was an awesome performance defensively. Just really whipped them up front. And I just can't wait to see what the rest – maybe this is their year.
Yeah. But
I mean, why not? We look at the AFC. Why not?
Yeah.
What, did you watch the Ravens last night?
Who?
I was about to ask you who you thought the other who else is good. Like, I mean, if we want to agree right now that because of what they're doing on the field, the Titans are good. Like, there are reasons to doubt, I think, every other team in the conference, because everybody you start to buy into, whether it's the Bengals, the Raiders, the Bills, the Ravens last night, the Chargers, all of them, then give you reasons not to believe in them, Mike.
I know. So, and you didn't even mention 4 or 5 teams, or you didn't mention the Chiefs. So
That's right.
I just wonder if by the end of the year, by the end of the year, do some of the things that we thought were going to happen wind up kind of being? Is Kansas City going to be this bad offensively the whole year? Or do they sort of hang around, and by the end of the year they've kind of figured it out on that side of the ball, and they're just representative enough on defense that they're kind of what we thought they were going to be. You know what I mean? It's hard to really pick the teams week to week. Other than I think Tennessee's had some consistency after the first game. After the first game of the year. So. I don't know if you can count on the fundamentals of any of those other teams. I thought you could on Buffalo, and they lose to the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
How do you lose to the Jaguars and score 6 points? I don't know. I don't know how that happens. So I think every team's got to feel like they've got a good chance, and you just hang around. And there's a little bit of that in the NFC too, where the 6 and 7 teams right now are New Orleans and Atlanta. I mean, come on, you know what I mean? There's kind of a feel to this year that I don't feel like there's a team that you would pick over the field at all. Don't you feel like every team that kind of has a chance feels like, why not? It's kind of fun.
It is, because it's going to be wild to try and figure out how it all. And luckily, we get to watch games, so we don't have to try and decide this. Like over the next 2 months, we're actually going to figure out the answer to these questions. I know you went back and you revisited the quarterback tiers piece that you do every year, and you talk to some of the same people and see whether or not they have any kind of a do-over or want a mulligan on some stuff. What were some of the most interesting takeaways about guys that either were too high or maybe were too low? I know Tannehill, it didn't seem like much changed in terms of Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, because he made a move up in the offseason, and was kind of seen as that tier 2 quarterback. He was playing better than the guys who just sort of manage it, and I don't think after 9 games, I mean, there's not a huge change on almost anybody after that amount. But I mean, Mahomes, no one's going to say that he's not a tier 1 quarterback right now, but how do you explain what's happening to them? I mean, he's not playing like one the last month. So I think he's interesting, and people trying to figure out, okay, what is it? And certainly how people are playing them defensively. They haven't had answers to that. And they're not the only team. It's interesting in this age of, wanting to pass the ball that some of those teams that have tried to do that maybe have gone too far. And I think you can put Seattle in that group last year. You can put Kansas City in it this year. Buffalo has sort of tried to adjust off of it, but it kind of is who they are. You know what I mean? And what's interesting about that is Tennessee has been at times, people have said, they've run the ball too much, and that actually has been a nice part of their identity that's been able to kind of keep them, stable, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. So I think that's been an interesting one. I think Kyler Murray, you have to give some credit to, even though the main concern was that he was, not going to hold up physically the whole year. So that's obviously kind of coming true for him. And then, I think Dak Prescott was another one, but geez, they looked terrible this last week, and he's missed a game. So I don't know what you can count on in this NFL world anymore. Just when you think something's going in one direction, it kind of tacks back the other. So, and shoot, Cam Newton's back in the league making $5 or $6 million. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. For that team.
It's just yeah. So, the quarterback tiers thing, it was weird. I think that the one thing you've always been able to count on kind of is the tier 1 quarterbacks. Well, look at them this year. Tom Brady's the only one who hasn't had a major bump in the road. And Rodgers has played great, but he's putting his foot in his mouth, and Russell Wilson's missed games, multiple games, which has never happened before. Sean Watson, we don't even talk about him. Mahomes all over the place. So I think maybe that's the story, is that the tier 1 quarterbacks who've always been the thing that's most stable in the NFL, that you could count on, you could set your watch to, have been kind of all over the place for a range of reasons.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed in the piece was about Mahomes specifically. I've actually got the quote from him. He says, "We were talking about Kansas City a year ago and how reckless they were, how reckless Mahomes was with the ball, and you kept waiting for it to catch up with them. Things do catch up with you. It's caught up with them, and now it's mental. I don't think there's anyone there who can grab him and say, hey, listen, this has been fun and all, but we got to zero in on what's keeping us from being as good." Right. That is a very, very interesting quote right there.
Yeah. Because I sort of think of Andy Reid as the type of guy who would grab you like that. You know what I mean? I have thought of him as that way, but I don't know. When you have so much success doing something, it's kind of like a 3-point shooter. Remember that guy the other night who shot it in college from about almost half court?
Mm-hmm.
When you're making those, it's hard to say bad shot. When you start missing them, and maybe that's where they're at. Crazy. That's amazing to me that they are where they're at. I just never would have thought it. But it's what's made this year wild, and even the bad games are fun to tune into for weird reasons. Even last night's game I kind of enjoyed, even though it was a garbage game. So it's just one of those years in the league, where it really, truly, almost anything can happen.
So what are quarterbacks right now? We're seeing Zach Wilson seems to be held out because they want to go with another guy. You got Tua, who was somewhat healthy, but Jacoby Brissett was in front of him. Lamar, I don't know what their situation is 2 years removed or from league MVP. Where is this league with the quarterbacks? And you know what I'm saying? How do you even judge what's a good one?
I know. Well, and I think scoring's down too, a little bit from where it's been. And usually it goes higher earlier in the year and then falls off a little bit. So, yeah. I mean, who do you put your money on right now? I think I'm very interested to see in what Russell Wilson's return means for Seattle, right? Because in not many people are adding somebody like that during the year, so maybe that helps them. I'm interested in seeing Josh Allen over the second half of the year because remember he didn't make the top tier, and people were like, "Oh, he played like it last year," but in the league, well, let's see it again. And I think they haven't been as good offensively. What about Baker Mayfield? How interesting is he? I mean, they basically had to get rid of Odell Beckham, which maybe that's all on Odell Beckham, but I don't know. I mean, they're in a situation where they're going to have to make a decision on how much to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want to go near the top of the market based on kind of what you've seen? Do you feel like that's why they're winning the games, right? I think they're really interesting. And like you said, the kind of the Darnolds, the Daniel Joneses, some of those guys, maybe we've finally kind of seen enough, and we'll see about with Tua.
So we saw the Rams, Mike, obviously, and we saw what the Titans did to them up front. They go grab Odell. They had already grabbed Von Miller. They clearly want stars, and they clearly want stars from 2016 to 2017 and 2018, guys with big names. But is there a risk, not financial, but is there any kind of a risk in bringing somebody into the locker room that at least has some degree of history of being a little bit me first and not as much team?
Yeah. I think there is, I think there is risk, but it's mitigated in this case because they're not on the hook for a huge salary or, you know what I mean? They could get rid of him. I think it's telling that when he was, the Rams have been the huge traders, right? Anytime there's a star player, they've been in the middle of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when he was available from coming from the Giants, they didn't do it. That's kind of telling to me because guaranteed they looked into it, they thought about it, they had a chance to have the best bid because they're as free with their picks and trading them as anybody, and they didn't do it. I think that's a revelation that it wasn't worth it for the price for them. But now that you can get them and you don't have to pay them and you could cut them in 2 weeks, that's where I think it shifted into their favor of doing it. And let's face it, I mean, going to LA, it's 85 degrees. They kind of got it going for the most part this year, except for the other night. They're going to pass the ball a lot. I think it just became attractive for Odell Beckham in the absence of having a real money deal, right? No one was really giving them a huge offer. So here we are, and I think it's, what are the Rams going to do next week to, be the exciting, relevant team in a market that doesn't really care unless you're doing something. That's what I see.
So if things were to stay the same, and the chances they are probably not good considering what we've seen in the NFL, who is coach of the year? Because it seems like to us it's either Cliff or it's Mike. It's either Vrabel here and what he's doing, especially with the injuries and all he's done, or Cliff Kingsbury, who I was sure was going to be fired before the season started.
I know. I think it's going to be Vrabel. I think it will be Vrabel because, number one, he's deserving, and number two, I think he's further along. He's had success so that he already probably got people's votes in other years even. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like Cliff Kingsbury is like that 6th-round pick that has to play great for 10 years before anybody thinks he's any good. You know what I mean? Like everyone has their eval of Kingsbury. They can't take him seriously. And it's going to take – I'll give you a story. You know, these markets are funny sometimes. I was doing a radio show in Arizona after they were 3-0, and they were about to play the Rams. So they're 3-0. They're hot. They just had these wins. You know, they had the win in Tennessee. And the question I was asked was, hey, Sando, how much better would the Cardinals be if Sean McVay was their coach? That was the question.
Oh.
And I just said, whoa. What are we doing, Arizona? Enjoy what you got going. I mean, we don't need to – but that was the perception. Oh, Cliff Kingsbury doesn't know what he's doing. Well, they've just gotten better every year. You know what I mean? He's adapted his offense. It's not the gimmicky college thing. It's better than that. Now they're good on defense. Shoot, they won in Cleveland without a bunch of their personnel. They were right there in the Green Bay game. They've won at San Francisco with Colt McCoy. So you can make a great case for Kingsbury. I just don't think that people still take him as seriously as they probably should. And maybe it takes the second half of this year for people to come around on him.
So it's Ryan Tannehill, but as a coach.
Yeah, it's true though. You know, the evaluations of somebody kind of get set in stone, don't they? For a long time, it takes a long time to change it.
So, Mike, since we got all the unnecessary talk out of the way, okay, just got to put this out there. There was an immaculate stretch last night that happened that the NFL said did not happen.
Oh, we're talking about the O-lineman.
Two words for you: Robert Hunt.
Beautiful.
Go.
2 words, you said?
Yes, Robert Hunt.
Oh, that's a good. Well, I don't know that I got it in 2 words. I just thought.
No. You can go ahead. I was saying my
You're saying
2
two
words.
words were Robert Hunt.
2 words.
Yeah,
Okay.
my 2 words. They robbed us, man.
You could have gone with damn shame though, so it didn't count.
Yeah.
You know, I thought his ability to play it off was unbelievable because everyone in football knows you can't do that. I mean, you can't do it. So he just he just completely played off as if it was designed for him the whole way. Like he was going to get away with it. He really thought, I don't know how he could even have that in his mindset. And then catch it and do those things with the ball. They had him on the postgame show. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I mean, he's sitting there, and they don't even know what to ask him after a minute. They're spending like way too long asking about this play. There's like 5 follow-up questions, you know, and he's just kind of sitting there with a smile on his face. I wonder what the guys in the locker room were thinking. That it's going to be a fun time in the film room, I think, for those guys because they finally got a win. I mean, think how depressing it is to just lose. They had a 7-game skid. You know, to get this win, to have that happen, to have that not cost them, which it could have, it was really awesome. I thought it was cool. It was fun to see, and it sort of made the whole game, which was kind of a bad game, fun to watch. So good for him.
Mike, it's always a pleasure, man. We really appreciate you making time for us. It's always a great conversation. We love you, man.
Hey, thank you. It's good. Hopefully we have something to talk about the second half of the year, too. So,
yeah, absolutely, brother. You have a great weekend.
Appreciate
We'll talk to you
soon. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's Mike Sando. It should have counted just on principle alone. Maybe it's because I just watched American Underdog, the Kurt Warner film, and did some interviews and stuff earlier this week. But I saw the Dyson play, and every time I watched that highlight of Robert Hunt, I see him stretching it out.
Stretching it out, baby.
And I hate that that's what you think of when you think of Dyson because he's so accomplished in so many areas.
He's a doctor.
I know. Yeah. But that's the first thing I thought of immediately. I was like, oh, he stretched it out.
The only thing I thought was they robbed us.
He even got a blocker.
He did.
He had guys that were blocking for him, knowing it wasn't going to count, just putting themselves in harm's way because they were like, well, it's going to be a video. It's going to be a highlight.
He's redeemed us from the Oakland Raider who picked up the ball and ran with it. Remember he got hit and he fell down on the ground and he was like, my back is broken. I think he was with the Titans. Who was that?
He may be.
No, he last year.
Oh, that's right. God. We'll find it during the break. When we come back, Toyota keys to the game. We'll predict Titans Saints. We already know what Moan thinks is going to happen tomorrow, plus a visit from the one and only Macho Man. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
come from. Here's what I tell everyone.
Welcome back. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Yeah, Ron Slay pop in. We just had Chris Martell just rolling here. Love me some Chris Martell. I hadn't seen him in a while. I actually saw him at a screening a couple weeks ago. Our thanks to Mike Sando and Mike Keith and Andy Staples and Will McNeely. It's been a fun week. It's been a fun show. If you miss any part of it, podcast us wherever you get your podcasts. Drop us a 5-star review. We would greatly appreciate that. So, keys to the game. See your local Toyota dealer. Check out the adventurous new Toyota RAV4. Street savvy and off-road capable RAV4 is redefined what a compact SUV can be. For all Toyota offers, go to buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. So, Titans, Saints, in a loud Nissan Stadium, one would hope and one would think, on Sunday. It doesn't have the allure that it could have had if you knew they were fully healthy and you understood their quarterback situation and all of that kind of thing. But I will say the number one key, and I said this earlier in the show, do not, under any circumstances, walk in thinking this team can't beat you if you're Tennessee. Give them the requisite respect for also being professionals that make money and professionals that, just like you, would love to make a statement. And right now, the team to make a statement against in the AFC might be you. And there's a lot of guys that are going to be out there more often that you may not have seen, that are going to get opportunities, that would love for their names to be talked about on Monday instead of the Titans. So, and I don't think this is an issue. If you're any member of that team, take them seriously.
Dude, that's about as best as you can phrase the first key, Jay. That's the most important thing. It's been a weird year, to your point, man. It's been a weird year. And I'll say this, too. The second key to the game for me, I can't even come back on that one, Jay. That's awesome. The second key of the game for me is playmakers make your plays. It's not a primetime game. It's not a AFC game. It's a home game in front of your crowd. I know in particular, I'm sure AJ wants to redeem himself from the drops. Show up. The running game, O-line up front. You got your hands full. That D-line of the Saints is pretty savvy. It's pretty good, man. You got to tip your hat to them. Handle the run game, and guys on the outside make your plays. Specifically, AJ. I expect him to have 100. It's a good secondary for sure. But if he's the guy I think he is, I think he has a really big game this week, bouncing back from what happened in L.A.
I think ride the wave of the horses. The guys you expect to play well.
Yeah.
You pick up your level of play alongside them. You know Byard's playing out of his mind right now, but if you're Chris Jackson, keep it up. Keep doing the kinds of things that you're doing. You know who you can rely on. Harold playing out of his mind right now. You're looking at Danico and Jeff. So if you're Naquan, keep it up.
Yep.
If you're Murchison, you're out there, keep it up. Like, ride the wave of the dudes that are doing it. If you're NWI, if you're Marcus Johnson, if you're one of those dudes, if AJ has the game that, and I think you're right, I think he's going to go over 100 as well, ride that wave.
Yep.
Take advantage of it if you're firster. Jeff Swain making plays all of a sudden over the last few weeks. Whoever it is, Molden's another great example. Like, you lean on them, but then let them look over to you and think, you know what, I can lean on that guy because he's playing out of his mind right now.
Exactly.
If they're talking about Des Fitzpatrick, then they can definitely talk about you if you're on the field with them on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think that was the last point, the last key right there then, Jay. Role players, be big. Be big, man.
I think the Titans win the game.
I got them winning. I'm picking them to win. I don't know what the score is going to be. It can be 3-0. I'm picking them to win.
I could definitely see it being a weird kind of game, potentially. There's just a lot of factors you can look at, and just for some reason that it's got a strange sense to it. But I think the Titans are the better team, and I don't see this run stopping now. And so that's where we are. Shafe just walked away from the mic, so I don't know.
I am turning it off if it's like 3-6. That's the game we don't need.
Titans win by 7. Vols lose by 14.
Ooh.
I think the Vols may cover as well. I think they'll lose, but I don't think it's going to be 45-3 or anything like that. I just don't. I think they'll play with them for a half. I think the physicality of it might get them in the second half.
I feel that. I'm picking Vols 38-35.
After a really physical game last week, and you don't have enough bodies to rotate against that Georgia team.
Look, you'll get all the flowers Monday if you're right, Mon.
38-35 Vols.
No question about it. It should be a great atmosphere Saturday. Should be a great atmosphere on Sunday. Buck Rising, of course, is coming up next. We've had a fun week. We'll talk to you on Monday. We send you off with our guy, Macho Man Todd Titan. Take it away.
Oh, yeah. Never in the history of the NFL has a team been more overlooked, more disrespected, overcome the odds, and defied every single obstacle put in their way than the Tennessee Titans have, yeah. And last Sunday, we proved once again to the entire world that we are the team of destiny, yeah. And LA Rams, yeah, you got a first-hand look at the four horsemen of the apocalypse front four of the Tennessee Titans, yeah. We can't win without Derrick Henry, they said. We proved that wrong. And this coming Sunday, Saints, you're going to come marching into Nashville, yeah. And I'm glad you're bringing two quarterbacks to play because you're going to need them both because you might not have any at the end of the day. Because the Titans are going to leave you bruised and battered on that field, yeah. And then we're going to celebrate Mardi Gras November Titan style. Get ready for the elbow. It's time to tighten up. Dig it.